Good evening. Good evening, YouTube. Welcome to Politics Matter JA. It's great to have you with us on this um, beautiful Friday. I want to start by telling you that one of the greatest threats to any democracy is not simply misinformation, it is civic illiteracy. And remember that I explained the difference between misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation is a mistake. Disinformation is the deliberate peddling of false information. Democracies depends on citizens who can distinguish between a headline and a judgment, between an allegation and a finding, between procedural ruling and a final determination of the law. And what we are witnessing in the public discourse surrounding the Court of Appeal's decision is a troubling example. Many Jamaicans have been left with the impression that Holness lost his case. I'm speaking here now about the Integrity Commission ruling, the matter concerning the Integrity Commission. I hear many online talking about Holness lost the case. What case? What case has the Prime Minister lost? And therefore, that he has somehow been found guilty of wrongdoing or that his office is constitutionally in jeopardy. That's not what the court decided. That's not what the court decided. You know, sometimes I shed a tear for my fellow Jamaican citizens. And I will say this. There need to be a massive onslaught on education in this country. If we are going to build this country, we have to get rid of ignorance. My brothers and my sisters, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Part of the problem in this society is ignorance. And when you play the ball game of politics in a society that is civic illiterate, It's a web. If you were visiting the island and you browsed on TikTok today, you would have walked away that somehow the Prime Minister of Jamaica has committed an infraction and that he went to court and lost. And this is not a criticism of ordinary citizens, because most people do not have the time they don't have the time or the legal training to read 40 or 50 pages of a judgment. My producer is with me. Producer, well, let me adjust the screen. Good evening to you, Caroline. How are you?
Hi, good evening, neighbor. I'm surprised you're on. I thought we'd be on at 8:30.
No, well, I don't know if I had confirmed it with you today that I'd be jumping on at 7 o'clock because I have so much to talk about.
Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't aware.
I canceled my Friday night thingy to be here.
No, that is real patriotism, neighbor.
Yes, Caroline, because I am sitting here, Caroline, and I must tell you the truth. There is a burning in my soul. There's a burning in my soul for my people, Jamaica, because I tell you, Caroline, we need better reporting. We need better discussions. And some of the people that are online peddling these falsehood, Caroline, the country will have to do something about them, because they're becoming a threat to the democracy, man. They're liars.
They are, neighbor. They are.
They're wicked. And they are unpatriotic.
And neighbor, I was actually thinking about it not so long ago. And, one of the things that bothers me, neighbor, that,
yes.
Like when you look at, for example, the Indian community and the Chinese community, neighbor,
yes,
they seem to stick together.
Yes.
But I don't want to say us black people, neighbor, but so many of us, neighbor, we're so against each other. We don't lift each other up. We don't support each other. It is just so disheartening.
Very, very disheartening. And I don't know, Caroline, because I was questioning myself today if there is a witch hunt, if there is a witch hunt on against the
prime. It definitely is, neighbor. This is definitely a witch hunt, neighbor, because I was thinking about when PJ Patterson was going to run for election, neighbor.
Yeah.
A lot of Jamaicans then were saying it's a black man time.
Yes.
Right? And I think he got a lot of support from Jamaicans because
yes.
he's Jamaican.
Devastating term that was for at that time.
But this prime minister, neighbor, does not get that kind of support.
Because he's Labour, he's from the other side now.
Oh, okay.
He's from the other side. You see what I'm saying? Michael Manley was a brown man too, And look at Mark Bolden. Mark Bolden is a white man. You see the type of attack that Hollis has come under. Bolden hasn't come under that, ma'am. I wonder if there's a witch hunt on against the Prime Minister, Caroline, because the celebration that I am seeing online, the misguided celebration, is almost as if people are just hoping that somehow he could fail.
But the Prime Minister, there has been a witch hunt on the Prime Minister from day one.
What a disgrace.
Right? If you notice, from the very first time he ran, they had an issue with his house. They had an issue with the wall that surrounds his house. They just always had an issue with
his children.
Uh-huh.
His wife. Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh-huh. Quite true.
But I don't know, neighbor. He has not been a part of the social club that would welcome him in this kind of position, eh?
Well, yeah, that's where the elitism and classism debate come in. Eh? Anyway, talk to the listeners and let me loose. Let me say what I have to say.
Yes, of course. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining. Please tap, share, repost, and send the heart me's. And for are we live on YouTube, neighbor?
We're live on YouTube. Yes.
Oh, okay. Good evening, everyone on YouTube. Thanks for joining us again today. Please tap repost. No, it's not repost. Please give us the thumbs up and remember to subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much. But TikTok, please tap, share, repost, and send a heartbeat, please. Thanks. Okay, Nabel.
Thank you so much. All right. So let me play for you a couple clips about what happened today. Um, Firstly, the matter with Mr. Buchanan has not gone far at all. The early this morning, supporters of the People's National Party were gathered at the Supreme Court, hoping that somehow the Prime Minister's case would be Prime Minister would have been defeated in the case by Mr. Buchanan. I want to ask you a question, listeners. Why? Why is Mr. Buchanan so determined to take this seat from the Prime Minister? Why? Have you ever thought of it? Um, for what it is worth, I want you to listen to the PNP's top blogger. So, people, I'm arrived. It's a little funny, but listen to him. That's Durval. So, people, I'm arrived outside at the Court of Appeal, waiting to. I'm arrived outside of the court. Well, no, I'm not laughing at that, but I'm just pointing out to you how important this is for them. He's arrived at the Court of Appeal. What a fascinating night. Why I tell Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, that's the extent of the PNP. This is their number one blogger. Listen. So, people, I'm arrived outside at the Court of Appeal, waiting to go inside. Oh gosh. Funny, 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 funny. I tell you, he arrived at the Court of Appeal. He's not a judge, but you ever ask yourself why? So Buchanan said that good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. I have arrived at the studio. Problem in Jamaica, I tell you something, it is very, very funny. Listen to it again. So 9:30 people. 9:30 people. People, I have arrived. Okay? Big up on yourself. So people, I'm arrived outside. I am arrived here tonight and I want you to stay with me until Yep. Anyway, the man arrived there and the matter was aired in the court, and the Court of Appeal, of course, denied the thing. Listen to Nationwide. By the way, Nationwide, thank you. But I want you to listen to this.
The Court of Appeal concluded that although Mr. Buchanan presented serious evidence of electoral malpractice because of the setting up of the constitutional authority and the time factor, they did not allow the application to go through because they have to do that time would be against him. Because they're saying that the life of the constitutional authority is a short time, 6 months and 28 days to set the election court. But
now, recall that Mr. Buchanan first challenged to the legitimacy of the election results was overturned in a ruling on September 30th, 2025. Then, the constituted authority determined that the claim of irregularities on election day were insufficient to justify overturning the result. Mr. Buchanan then took his case to the Supreme Court, seeking judicial review. The Supreme Court ruled that the case did not meet the legal standard required. At that time, in dismissing Buchanan's application, the Supreme Court found that the mandatory statutory time period for challenging the election results had expired, and that the October 8th judicial review application was without merit. Mr. Buchanan was not done. He then decided to take the matter to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal today said that the Supreme Court was correct. But that's not over, because Mr. Wildman says that Mr. Buchanan intends to take the matter to the Constitutional Court. Listen to Mr. Buchanan.
all these things should not have factored into it because Mr. Buchanan did everything within time. So it is their problem not doing what was to be done properly, why the time issue becomes an issue. And in my view, time still is not an issue because when something is bad in law, time cannot block it. So in my view, that the only way to deal with the situation properly is to go under the Constitution to have the election declared void. We are going under the Constitution for the Constitutional Court to declare the election in West Central entitled void. That's where we're going next. That will be filed in the coming week. That will be filed.
Okay. So, in the coming weeks, they are going to file another matter to declare the election void. I want you to listen to Mr. Buchanan. Listen to him.
We fight, and I'm a serious man. And your holiness will be held to account no matter what if we have to go to the Privy Council to get the justice that we deserve.
And your holiness will be held to account no matter what. That statement did it for me. I want you listening to it. I want you listening to it again.
We fight, and I'm a serious man. And your holiness will be held to account no matter what if we have to go to the Privy Council to get the justice that we deserve.
And your holiness will be held to account no matter what. Even if we have to go to the Privy Council to get the justice we deserve. And your holiness will be held to account. It appears to me that this don't have nothing to do with any election. This is the ball game of politics. And I will tell you this, my listeners. The Opposition People's National Party is playing a dirty game of politics. And Mr. Buchanan could very well be a pawn. You see, I think it is clear, that Wholeness will not be beaten at the polls. Did you see Mr. Wholeness in Westmoreland today? As a matter of fact, there's a picture that the Gleaner publicized with Dr. Campbell bowing down to Mr. Wholeness. It's a fascinating picture. I think it is generally accepted that Dr. Wholeness Dr. Wholeness will not be beaten at the polls. The only way that the PNP seem to be able to defeat Dr. Wholeness is to paint him as a person that cannot be trusted. But I heard the Prime Minister said something today. I think it is a old tape, but for what it is worth, I want you to listen to him. Listen to the Prime Minister and tell me if this man is not sincere.
Bear in mind that the Nara bill is what the JLP sees as its glory and its saving for a fourth term and a fifth term or whatever. Speaking to some of them recently, some of the operatives, they see Nara as their way out to get back in tune with the Jamaican public, because they know them in a bad state, the public itself, with the cost of living and everything. So they see Nara as a saving grace, and they are going to do everything in their power to try to get whatever done, which means bypassing like a parish council, which probably would have to delay tactics. And
let me just say a few words quickly about NARA, because there's a lot of misconceptions.
I want you to listen to the Prime Minister. Listen to him.
Deliberate misconceptions to choke out NARA. The assumption that somehow the government is trying to create a project that is lacking oversight. Listen, the greatest risk to the government would be for anything untoward to happen under NARA. It is not in the interest of the government to create weak oversight for NARA. It's not in our interest. And even if it were in our interest, I wouldn't do it. Secondly,
that's it. I would not do it. When I heard the Prime Minister said that, I want you to listen to it again. Listen to it again.
Assumption that somehow the government is trying to create a project that is lacking oversight. Listen, the greatest risk to the government would be for anything untoward to happen under NARA. It is not in the interest of the government to create weak oversight for NARA. It's not in our interest. And even if it were in our interest, I wouldn't do it. Secondly,
now, if you study psychology, you see that dropping of the voice. It means it's coming from the heart. You can talk from the head, But when someone is very genuine and the voice lowers, I would do it. That's character. That's the man relying on his integrity. And when I listened to that today, and I watched the Prime Minister over there in Westmoreland, I say to Jamaica on this 31st day of our Lord, on the eve of emancipation, 1862, I say to Jamaican, don't let them destroy your Prime Minister. Fight if you have to fight with him and for him. because my instincts tell me that there is a witch hunt on, and that there are those in this society that are going to stop at nothing until he's defeated, not at the ballot box, which is a hijacking of the democracy, but through disinformation, the Machiavellian politics, the ball of politics. And I will tell you this, listeners, because it is important to say it. Democracies operate on certain pillars. The legislature is what is called separation of powers. The judiciary is to be independent of the politics. And I want to say that again. The judiciary is to be independent of politics. But we live in a real world, and I'm not accusing the judiciary of playing any politics. Not doing that at all. I am pointing out to you that under the separation of powers, you have the legislature, the executive, which is the cabinet. You have the judiciary. Members of parliament do not sit in cabinet, you know. And members of parliament are not au fait with cabinet decisions. Cabinet sits in secret. There is collective responsibility there. The courts are to interpret law. But one of the reasons why there is this delay in Jamaica becoming a republic is that the PNP wants Jamaica's final court to be the Caribbean Court of Justice. And my understanding is that the Labour Party wants the Privy Council to remain. Why? Why is there that? Because all institutions can be influenced. All, including the court. Let's move on. And so the matter of Mr. Buchanan's attempt to overturn Holness's general election win, dismissed on appeal. Let me ask you some questions. Let me just ask you this. Why is West Central St. Andrew so important? Why? This is where the case becomes politically significant. Because West Central St. Andrew is not just another constituency. I can tell you that had this been another constituency, would not be happening. The reason why we are going through this is because the Member of Parliament is Prime Minister Andrew Michael Wholeness. It's about Mr. Wholeness. The constituency represents far more than geography. It represents leadership. It represents legitimacy. It represents political prestige. Very few people would have lost in a court 3 times and continue going forward. You have money to waste? Why? Why is this so important? Why is it so important for Mr. Buchanan to win this seat? Listen to him.
He fight, and I'm a serious man. And the Wallace will be held to account no matter what if we have to go to the Privy Council to get the justice that we deserve.
You heard the tone in his voice? They are going after Andrew Holness. It's all about defeating the sitting Prime Minister, Andrew Holness. Nothing to do with any seat. It's about the Prime Minister. On to other matters. Also coming out of the court today, Dr. Andrew Wheatley had his first win, and the Integrity Commission had their first loss. Now, those of you who were calling for Dr. Wheatley to have resigned, you see why your call was premature? You see why your call was premature? And you see why it is important for us to allow due process to happen? And you see why the Prime Minister was correct in allowing the process to go through the legal layers. Cabinet Minister Dr. Andrew Wheatley has won the first round of his legal battle with the Integrity Commission. The Supreme Court today granted him an injunction barring the Integrity Commission from charging him until the hearing and determination of an application for judicial review. The Integrity Commission has been barred from charging Dr. Wheatley. Dr. Wheatley cannot be charged by TikTok, YouTube, or all of the other people wishing it to happen. The law is sacrosanct. The law is sacrosanct, and we do not operate a banana republic. This is a democracy, and democracies thrive on the systems, the fundamental systems of government. And one of them is that a man is to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. That's not an opinion of neighbor. That's part of the fundamental tenets of law. And you can try people in media and in social media. And as I said to you earlier, one of the risks of this country is that our people are civic illiterate. Let's go over to Nationwide and get the report from Dana Davy.
The South Central St. Catherine MP had sought leave to pursue judicial review against the Commission's recommendation that he be charged with illicit enrichment. On Friday, Supreme Court Judge Justice David Batts ruled in Dr. Wheatley's favor. Justice Batts granted the injunction and Dr. Wheatley's application for leave to pursue judicial review. He also recommended that the review be heard by a panel of 3 judges, given its importance. Prior to granting the injunction, Justice Batts had invited the Commission to consider an undertaking not to charge Dr. Wheatley until the hearing and a determination of the judicial review. But the Commission, through its lawyers, refused, and the judge granted the injunction. The Commission's application for leave to appeal the ruling was reportedly denied. The IC has alleged that Dr. Wheatley's assets are disproportionate to his income to the tune of $164 million. But the MP fired back and accused the Commission of failing to take into consideration the sum of $168 million in rental income accumulated over a decade. One of Dr. Wheatley's attorneys, Abe Dabdoob, says the ruling supports Dr. Wheatley's decision to file the action. He says the minister's legal team will pursue a judicial review.
What it means is that we are justified in having brought it. Clearly, it's a very clear case that needs to be answered. We are going to be filing a fixed date claim form for judicial review, and our case will be presented before the 3 judges.
Other members of Dr. Wheatley's high-powered legal team in the civil aspect of the proceedings against the IC include King's Counsel KC Ransford Graham and Nico Pagan. He has also hired KC Peter Champagny. The Integrity Commission is being represented by KC Kevin Powell. Dana Davy for Nationwide News.
There you have it. Now, I do not want to prejudge the case concerning Dr. Wheatley, but let me just tell you what happened. Justice David Batts did not decide that Dr. Wheatley is innocent, nor did Justice Batts decide that the Integrity Commission is wrong. What the court decided was 2 important things. Number 1, the court granted leave for judicial review, meaning the court found that there is an arguable legal case that deserves to be heard. I wonder if you follow me. Many people had condemned Dr. Wheatley based on the IC's report. Many argued that Dr. Wheatley should resign, including some of the civic society groups. And this is, me I tell you, man, me I tell you. And you know, because some of us poor and we don't have no money, because there are many issues and cases that had poor people had the resources, they would have win, you know. And many people were already ready to condemn Dr. Wheatley because of what the IC said. The IC is a sovereign. Is the Integrity Commission sovereign? So because it come from the IC, it means it's right? Go on with that. can't run a country like that. You can't run a country because, and you have an institution, and whatever that institution said, they're omniscient, and them are God. Can't work like that. And all of you civic society group, church leaders, opposition, that were demanding Dr. Wheatley's resignation, what are you saying now? Are you going to withdraw that? That's why you must shut up. Shut up and wait for the process to be completed, or you will have eggs on your face. The law is not a shackle. It's a tool of social engineering. And laws are to be interpreted. Not because the IC said it means that it is right. The man has a right to defend himself, and he is defending himself. It is his right. It is his constitutional right. And every Jamaican, uptown, downtown, round town, across town, have the same right to defend themselves. And what if the Prime Minister had gone ahead and acted irrational and removed Dr. Wheatley from the cabinet? What would have happened? The court today decided that there is an arguable case that deserves to be heard. In other words, the Supreme Court is saying there is a matter here that we want to hear. That's the first point. Secondly, that the court granted an interim injunction. And that injunction prevents the Integrity Commission from proceeding with criminal charges until the judicial review is determined. In other words, the court says you cannot charge him until there is a judicial review. So number one, the court says there is a case to be argued. Two, don't you ever touch that man. Don't you touch him. Don't you even think of putting a charge on him. All of that must be delayed. And I suspect that if you are let me see if I can just go over to TikTok here, and I'm getting an inactive message, producer.
Listeners, please tap share, repost, and send the heartbeats, please, and keep the comment section extremely active. Thank you.
Yeah, I suppose if you have any knowledge of the law, I don't want to preempt anything, but I can tell you that Dr. Wheatley tonight is going to his bed very comfortable, and the IC is not. There's a big lawyer the IC have there too, But I can tell you something, based on this first round, there's something here that I'm not going to tell you yet, but stay tuned. The court also recommended, you see, that the judicial review be heard by a panel of 3 judges because of the legal and constitutional issues involved. Why does a court grant an injunction? Well, an injunction is designed to preserve the status quo. In other words, nothing changes until the court decides the important legal issues. The judge evidently accepted that there was a sufficient legal basis to pause any prosecution until the judicial review determines whether the Integrity Commission acted lawfully in reaching its recommendation. Fundamental. The judge accepted that there was sufficient legal basis to pause prosecuting Dr. Whitley. Why? Now, you may ask me, what is a judicial review? I'll tell you. A judicial review is not a criminal trial. A judicial review examines questions. For example, did the Integrity Commission follow the law? Did it observe procedural fairness? Did it properly consider all of the relevant evidences? Was its recommendation reasonable? And the judicial review will also seek to determine whether the Integrity Commission acted within the powers given to it by the Parliament of Jamaica. It is only after those issues are resolved that the legal process moves forward. This is going to be a blockbuster case. And I'm telling you this, Dr. Wheatley is doing a service to Jamaica, because Dr. Wheatley is going to make sure that every other case coming out of the Integrity Commission can stand up to scrutiny. It is a defeat for the Integrity Commission. Yes. It's a procedural defeat because the commission failed to persuade the court to refuse leave of the injunction. Procedurally defeated. I want to tell you this, that the ruling illustrates an important principle about the rule of law. Because an independent body like the Integrity Commission is subject to judicial oversight. A judicial oversight. And so those people who were calling for Dr. Wheatley to go based on the Integrity Commission need to learn that the Integrity Commission does not have the final say. It does not. The Integrity Commission can make whatever recommendation they want to make. That's the process. Those recommendations can be tested under the judicial review. Let's move on then to the Prime Minister's case. And this is the big one. The Prime Minister today, the Court of Appeal dismissed an appeal by the Prime Minister in his legal battle with the Integrity Commission. The judgment which was handed down today, the panel of judges affirmed all the orders made by the Supreme Court Althea Jarrett on July 31st, 2025. In other words, they are suggesting that Althea Jarrett, her rulings were correct. The court also lifted the stay of proceedings imposed while the appeal was pending, clearing the way for the substantive judicial review to resume in the Supreme Court. I told you earlier what a judicial review is about. Once again, let us say thanks to Nationwide for allowing us to use their news clip. Mahiri Stewart tells us more, courtesy of Nationwide News 90 FM.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, along with Imperium Holdings Limited, Positive Media Solutions Limited, and Positive Jamaica Foundation Limited, had asked the court to strike out several paragraphs of a second affidavit sworn by Craig Beresford, then the Commission's Director of Information and Complaints. The appellants argued the paragraphs were scandalous, frivolous, and vexatious, and that their prejudicial effect outweighed their probative value. Writing for the court, Justice Frank Williams finds the paragraphs were a direct response to the Prime Minister's own evidence. Dr. Holness had said in his affidavit that over the period 1997 to 2020, he submitted his statutory declarations as required and that they were certified and published. The court holds that Beresford was entitled to reply that there had in fact been difficulties with some of those earlier filings, difficulties the judgment notes were ultimately resolved. The appellants also failed in their bid to force the Commission to hand over unredacted minutes of meetings of the Commission and 3 of its committees. The court found the redactions justifiable. It accepts sworn evidence from the Commission's in-house counsel that the blacked-out material relates to other investigations and to third parties unconnected to the Prime Minister, and that Section 56 of the Integrity Commission Act makes disclosure of such material an offense. The court also refused to order disclosure of a resignation letter from Stephanie Fiddler-Blake, who held the post of Manager of Declarations and Financial Investigations at the Commission. Nationwide News reported in 2025 that Fiddler-Blake, who played a key role in the probe into the Prime Minister's statutory declarations, resigned abruptly. Sources at the Commission told our newsroom she left over a fundamental difference of opinion with key colleagues about aspects of her work. The appellants argued the reason for her resignation went to whether the Commission's findings were unreasonable. But the judgment finds they gave the court no evidence of how they came to know of the resignation or why they believed it was connected to the issues in the claim. The appeal ran to 9 grounds. All 9 failed. Costs are awarded to the Integrity Commission, Beresford, and Director of Investigations, Kevon Stevenson, to be agreed upon or taxed. The underlying judicial review filed in 2024 challenges the fairness and lawfulness of the Commission's investigation into Dr. Holness's statutory declarations for the years 2019 to 2022. The Prime Minister has consistently denied any wrongdoing. With the stay now lifted, that claim returns to the Supreme Court, including the Prime Minister's challenge to the constitutionality of the illicit enrichment provision of the Corruption Prevention Act. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Now, my understanding is that a lot of PNP people are listening to the program. Well, welcome, comrades, because they want to hear what I have to say about this matter. And I can say a lot about it. I am not a lawyer, but that don't mean that I can't comment on matters of law. What I will say is that there is a threat to the democracy. And that threat is not simply misinformation. It is civic illiteracy. And I'm not disrespecting anyone. I am on TikTok. I am on YouTube. I hope we'll be on Facebook soon, and X and Patreon and all over the place. We're not disrespecting nobody. But there are some people online commenting on matters that is outside of their scope of understanding. They will leave it alone. They don't understand. And that is not a disrespect, because I cannot perform open heart surgery because I'm not a doctor. And me can't fly airplane because I'm a pilot. And if you're having a problem down there, I'm not a gynecologist. I couldn't help you. We have different abilities and we have different skills. And some people who turn on them camera and they're online say them a commentator, they left that alone. They are misleading people. And there are countries that it couldn't happen in them in some country. It could not happen in some countries. You know that when you go to China, you can't use WhatsApp. Civic illiteracy. Damn foolishness. And you know what is sad? That some of these people have audiences, you know. Some of them have bigger audience than I. And people sit down and listen to the garbage and run with it as facts. That's the biggest problem in Jamaica. And if I had one piece of advice I could give to the government, I would say launch a massive campaign against illiteracy in this country. Drive it out. Drive illiteracy out of Jamaica. I would have prepared to pay extra tax to get rid of illiteracy. We don't have a problem with, the biggest problem we have is not crime. The biggest problem we have in Jamaica are dunce. Too much dunce. I hope I don't irritate anyone by saying that. Civic illiteracy. And you know what is worse? That there are people who know better. And they are exploiting the vulnerabilities of the people because they know better. And this argument that the Prime Minister lost is a nonsense argument. There's nothing for the Prime Minister to lose. So when I see people out there talking about the Prime Minister, lose what? You wanted to speak, you wanted to say something, producer.
Yes. Sorry to interrupt, neighbor, but listeners on YouTube asking you to press that X and then give us the thumbs up over there so that the live stream can go out to others. And for TikTok, please repost, tap share, and continue to send the heart news, please. And remember to keep the comment section active so the live will stay active. Thank you.
By the way, I see the opposition spokesman on education. His case against the government today was again delayed. I'd love to talk to Mr. Crawford about that. I don't think he's going to talk to me. Anyway.
1 second, neighbor. YouTube listeners, please press that thumbs up. Just press that X at the top right hand corner, and then press the thumbs up button for us, please. Can we get some more likes on YouTube, please? Asking you, please press the X at the top right hand corner, and then press the thumbs up, please. Thank you.
Keep the chat open, please. We need some comrades in the chat to keep it active. Keep the chat very active, and please send the heart me's, send a rose if you can, and whatever gift you can afford to send to the program today. You know, keep us going. Okay, thank you so much. A democracy depends on citizens who can distinguish between a headline and a judgment, between an allegation and a finding, between a procedural ruling and a final determination of law. All that happened in the court today was a procedural ruling. That is all that happened. Prime Minister no lose nothing. It's a procedural ruling. That is it. That is it. And as a matter of fact, I don't even, you know, I spent a lot of producer, see if you can let Garfman back in for me. he wants to send something to the program. Okay. Let it. Producer?
Yes, neighbor.
Yeah, Garfman is there in the chat.
Garfman is not blocked, neighbor. He's muted.
Oh, he's muted. Okay.
He can listen. He can listen if he so desires.
Okay. He says he wants to send 2 lions.
It's okay. We'll do without the 2 lions. We're fine.
Okay, all right, fantastic. All right.
Okay.
So it was a procedural yeah, I said I spent some time today looking at that, and I said, but you know, I shouldn't even spend any time talking about this, you know, because it's not really relevant, you know. It's not a news story, it's not big. It's not a big murky news. It's nothing to talk about, really. This is no Dr. Wheatley's matter is a bigger matter than this procedural ruling that the Prime Minister had. So what is social media blowing up about? What the dickens is social media blowing up about? You know, Jamaica is not too much of a serious place. What we should be discussing, you know, are the PNP voice note. We should have this. Anyway, I guess it's what it is. You know what we are witnessing in the public discourse is a troubling example of the civic illiteracy in Jamaica. Because I don't see how you could walk away from that, suggesting that Holness lost the case. Lost which case? And therefore, somehow he has been found guilty of wrongdoing. What? I don't want to be too critical of my brothers and sisters in Jamaica, but because most people do not have legal training, and nor do I, and most people do not spend the time to read judgments and things like that. They rely on headlines, social media posts, commentators explaining complex issues. But there's an ethical concern that arises. Because when those who do understand the legal process deliberately blur the distinctions for political advantage, that a wickedness, Mr. Man, fire go drop, you know. Fire go drop, you know. Fire go drop in Jamaica. Because some people out there, they know better. When those who understand deliberately blur these distinctions for political advantage, that is what you call the ball game of politics. Push it out there so the Prime Minister lose. Lose what? It's a procedural ruling, has nothing to do with the case, really. There is a profound moral difference between simplifying the law and distorting the law. A profound moral difference. And what we have here is a distortion of the law. because some of them know better. In every society, there are people who know that procedural appeal is not the same as losing a substantive case. I want my listeners to know that a procedural appeal is not the same as losing a case. The Prime Minister has lost no case. They know that judicial review is not a criminal conviction. They know that an elected Prime Minister does not cease to hold office because of an interlocutory appeal. Yet some still frame the narrative as though the courts have pronounced guilt or triggered a constitutional crisis. And the civic illiterate in the society adapt them here. The Prime Minister lose. That's the narrative. Interlocutory. That is not political analysis. That's political persuasion masquerading as legal commentary. And a democracy cannot function if public opinion is built on false legal premise. Because once citizens begin making political judgments based on misunderstanding of judicial process, confidence in both the courts and the democratic institutions can be undermined. This is the danger regardless of which political party is involved. And today it may be Andrew Holness. Tomorrow it could be another Prime Minister. The principle is the same. Every person deserves to have legal matters represented accurately. There's another ethical issue that deserves attention. There is a difference between informing people and manipulating them. What is happening in Jamaica, the land of my birth, is manipulation. It's one thing to criticize a public official. It's another thing to exploit the gaps in public understanding to manufacture outrage. And those who knowingly use legal complexity to mislead people are not strengthening the democracy. They are weakening it. That's the ball game of politics. A healthy democracy requires an informed electorate, not inflamed people. We need informed people. We don't need inflamed people. Fire, fire. Where fire there? No fire now blaze your people. Easy on yourself. The responsibility, therefore, falls heavily on journalists, political commentators, bloggers, influencers. They shape public understanding. With that influence comes a duty. Every one of you tonight who turn on your camera, you have a responsibility. You have a duty to be fair and top line. You have a duty to explain things honestly, even when the truth lies politically convenient than a provocative headline. And so I issue this caution. When politics replace legal analysis, the slogans replace judgments, the greatest casualty is not any politician. It is the public trust in the democracy itself. Because a society that cannot distinguish between accusation and adjudication, or between procedural ruling and a final verdict, becomes increasingly vulnerable to manipulation. And once truth becomes subordinate to political convenience, every institution of democracy, not just the courts, is put at risk. That is why civic education is not a luxury. It is one of the strongest safeguards to constitutional democracy. Let me tell you what happened in the court today in the case of Dr. Holness. The Court of Appeal did not rule on whether Holness made false statutory declarations or engaged in illicit enrichment. It ruled on several procedural issues arising in the judicial review. Specifically, the court decided that the Integrity Commission can rely on parts of an affidavit that the Prime Minister wanted to strike out. The Commission does not have to disclose certain confidential documents because they relate to other investigation and are protected by law. That the registration letter of a former commission official does not have to be disclosed based on the evidence presented, and that the judicial review can now continue because the appeal on those procedural issues has been resolved. In other words, the court decided how the case should proceed. That's it. The ruling today was on how the case should proceed, not who is right on the underlying dispute. I told you earlier what a judicial review is. I don't need to go back over that. Has the Prime Minister been found guilty of anything? No. N-O. No. You can spell no. Not M-O. N-O. Not O-O. N-O. Not W-O. N-O. No. No conviction. No finding of corruption. No finding that he made false declaration. No order to remove him from office. The substantive issue remained before the Supreme Court. Anything else you hear out there is pure political propaganda. Nothing in this ruling affects the Prime Minister's ability to govern. That's the politics, the political ball game. What happens next? So the stay has been lifted, meaning the judicial review returns to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will now consider the substantive questions, including whether the Integrity Commission acted lawfully and fairly in its investigation of the Prime Minister, whether its findings were legally sustainable, and the Prime Minister's constitutional challenge to aspect of Jamaica's anti-corruption legislation. Those issues are to be determined at the Supreme Court. So from a constitutional standpoint, the Court of Appeal's decision reinforces that legal disputes should proceed through the courts according to established procedures. It does not determine the merits of the allegations against the Prime Minister, nor does it create a constitutional obligation for the Prime Minister to resign. The people of Jamaica are free to debate the political implications, but it is important to distinguish political opinion from legal effect. Political opinions and legal effect are not the same thing. As matters stand, Dr. Holness remains the duly elected Prime Minister and continues to exercise the powers of that office and is entitled, the Prime Minister is entitled as any litigant is, to have the substantive issues decided by the courts before conclusions are drawn about the legality of the Integrity Commission actions or his own conduct. In the meantime, Dr. Holness continues to move around the country, and he continues to deliver for the people of Jamaica. Today, Dr. Holness was in Westmoreland. Hundreds of container homes are being given to the citizens there with flush toilets and face basin. People's National Party, that barely have anything to talk about, took on the Prime Minister through their spokesperson, Dr. Angela Brownberg, talking about dignity. I'd love my listeners to weigh in on this, What is dignity? What is dignity? My understanding is that there are Jamaicans who defecate in scandal bags and parachute them down the gully. That's dignity. You know what is indignity? Listen to Mrs. Brownberg.
I've been told that asking the Prime Minister to stop the foolishness of the people. That's true. The legal social housing, taxpayers' money, when we put together, yes? The legal social housing, asking the Prime Minister to.
Now, the little social housing money, is Ms. Brownberg suggesting that the houses are little? I wonder if I could have get one of them container house there. I would have so appreciated. I know thousands of Jamaicans, Miss Brownberg. Angela? 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 I'm sure that there are hundreds of Jamaicans living in your constituency that would be thankful for one of these container homes. You see politics? You see politics that diminishes value? It's not politics, Little house, ma'am. Little house.
Stop the foolishness of the people. That's true. The legal social housing, taxpayers' money, when we put together, yes? Because Auntie, as she wanted to know, and she needed the bed, and you fix the house. Or it's a family, but them really not have it. So you give them the little house and you do it. We're going to put black.
You hear that? The little house. You give them the little house. I'm not going to play any more of it, No, I'm not going to play any more of Miss Brownberg. I'm not trying to be biased here, but that don't deserve play. I don't like it. That sound like a bad mind. That sound like a bad mind. What do you mean little house? Give out the house, them Prime Minister. Bring in. I wouldn't mind if every Jamaican living in substandard conditions got one of those houses. What would it be? What would be a beautiful country? And let me tell you this. In 5 years' time, those people that have gotten these little houses are going to turn them into 2 or 3 bedrooms. I better watch and swim here. Because I tell you this, it was the same little houses that people got in Portmore, in Eltham, and a lot of schemes. It was the same little batches box that people got. And they developed them and turned them into nice homes. I'm going to go to my callers. But it was instructive to see the Prime Minister receiving a handshake from Mr. Dayton Campbell today. And Mr. Campbell was literally bowing down to the Prime Minister. What a sight. Listen to the Prime Minister as he responds to
this model. Now, I know Angela has some concerns about the size of the units. I too have some concerns about the size of the units. I look at it from the positive angle, however, which is it is a starter unit. And I just say a few words on the starter unit program. There was a great furor that we are not building enough houses for young people. Now, as a government, you have to be so careful. The purpose of government is to distribute equity equitably. Follow me what I'm saying here. The purpose of government is to distribute equity equitably. There are groups within the society that have more political pull and sway than other groups, meaning they have a larger voice. They can get on radio. They can get access to their politicians. They can make social media posts than other groups who may not be able to do it. And so governments have to be careful that they are not swayed by the loudest voice, right? Government has to look at every sector in the society and make sure how we spend public resources are fair to everyone, even those who don't have the voice to influence government. In as much as, I've heard the complaint from our youngsters who are graduating and saying, I'm graduating and I can't find a house. As I walked a health fair at the University of the West Indies, a middle-aged man stopped me and he said, Prime Minister, I have been contributing to the NHD for the last 25 years and I cannot get a house. What happened to me? You see my job? I have to balance the need of the 25-year-old doctor who has just graduated and wants a house, as well as the need of the 45-year-old supervisor who has been contributing, who also wants a house, and the hairdresser and the mechanic. So the government can't just make policy because of the loudest cry. We have to look at the entirety of the thing. And so I called up the NHT and I said to them, listen, what we really need to do is to start to develop a pool of housing that is available for rotation. Because what you're noticing is that housing demand goes through the life cycle. When you're young and you just start working, you might not need the backyard space. You might just need a small area for laundry. An apartment type thing is good, but you're not going to keep that forever. You might keep that for 10 years. But under the current system, you get one benefit. So if you buy this, you're not going to get another NHD benefit again. So we say, no, what we need to do is to have purpose-built homes that are starter units, attractive for young people, both in price point and how they are designed. And when they have reached that point, there is a life cycle where they want a little backyard now, because they have children and they need space for them to play. They should be able to sell that unit and go and get their NHD benefit again. What happens now is that
there you have the Prime Minister.
Huge problem now. We cannot give taxpayers money in anonymity. Let me make that point clear. If you are going to benefit from taxpayers' fund, it cannot be anonymous. There has to be a record. There has to be oversight. We have to test that you deserve to get the funds over someone else who is equally or more in need. So we have to do means test. So when we build this and have this ceremony, and we say these units are now built and 5 of them, we are not taking away the dignity of the people. No, we're not taking away the dignity of anyone. The indignity is that they didn't have the house. The indignity is that they were living in cars and under trees and in structures that are about to collapse. It is the giving of dignity now when they get the house. And the pride is not just the pride of the beneficiary, it is the pride of the nation to know that your country, your state has used the taxpayers' funds in an accountable manner to raise the dignity of the people and to raise the dignity of the nation one house at a time. We will not stand and allow falsehoods, misrepresentations, downright lies, and mischief to lead this country astray. This government is committed to communicate with the people of Jamaica on every issue, on every falsehood, on every false claim. We will be toe-to-toe responding. And we're going to step up our response as well, because some of what is said borders on inciting violence. Much of what is said is also illegal and unlawful under Jamaican law, and we intend to prosecute those persons who break the law in this. The nation is at risk if we do not. We can't.
There you have it. The Prime Minister of Jamaica responding to the People's National Party. Of course, the People's National Party, they are saying that the housing units are small, and that another criticism is that the Prime Minister is putting up banners or billboards on in the housing units. I'd love to hear my listeners on that before I give you my views on it. Of course, that plus so many other matters came out today. Let's go to our member Harry. Good evening to you, member.
Good evening, neighbor. Good evening, neighborites, and everybody is listening. Caroline, good night.
Great Friday night to you, sir. How are you?
A little tired, neighbor, but we push through.
Yeah, member Harry. Let me start with the what came out of the courts today. Let's start with the case with Mr. Buchanan. Did you hear Mr. Buchanan threatening that Holness, will face justice? What is Mr. Buchanan's objective at this time? How do you read that?
Neighbor, there's 2 ways I'll put it into perspective, right?
Yes.
The first one is he's just a downright sore loser.
A sore loser.
Yeah. And the second one is a political tactic to keep the relevance of trying to taint the Prime Minister's character.
Sorry. So you are saying that this does not have anything to do with the case itself or the seat. It is a personal attack on the Prime Minister.
It is, neighbor.
Oh my.
It is. Because let's go back to the election and several elections prior to that. Everybody knows that the ballot boxes that comes from the furthest section of that constituency are die-hearted labor rights.
Yes.
No doubt about that. And for people who want to question it, to say why those boxes always come in last, simply because they're the furthest in the constituency to reach where the division is that you have to count off. Simply that. It happens in every constituency right through. And to paint the picture to say, Andrew Holness was losing all along until those ballot box came in.
And that member was an impression given by a particular media house as they covered the election.
As they did, right? And they didn't state specifically in a neighbor.
Yes.
It's just like how when covering it, and you state what sections goes to which party.
Yes.
Even in the US election, you know where Democrats are going to win outright.
Yes.
You know where they also don't stand a chance against Republicans.
So the people were misled, and the media house should take some of the responsibility. You think?
They should. Because what you put out and how you put it out as a mainstream media has a gross effect on the people of Jamaica. And what that does is you utilize or take advantage of their ignorance and also their low emotional intelligence to understand what has transpired.
Yes.
Right? Because as much as a lot of people talk about this election process and so on, there's only a small percentage that understands it to the T or understand it in a respectable way.
Correct. And the fact of the matter is that there are just certain covering elections, Harry. There are just certain divisions where you know that these divisions are not going to vote for a particular party. You know that the votes coming out of that division is going to favor one party, eh?
Yeah, because when you do your canvassing and so on, you know we're neighbor. So, for example, the last election, using Damon Crawford for example, as close as it was, and when we did a check to see what divisions were remaining, we knew the election was over.
Yes.
Because all the strongholds came in for the Jamaica Labour Party and there was nothing left.
Oh my.
You were hoping and praying for a miracle to happen.
Uh-huh.
And as such, you would have wrote off that seat easily with some 25 ballot boxes to go.
Absolutely.
Right?
And people who cover elections, like radio stations, they call seats early when they see those trends.
Yeah.
No miracle happens.
There are certain things that don't change, neighbor. Demographics are very hard to change. It takes 1 or 2 generations continuously to change it. So, for example, if you go to West Kingston area, right? You don't expect the People's National Party to be getting thousands of votes in that area because it will never change. If you look at, let's say, Warmington's constituency, right? You just know that they will vote a specific way. Now, that is something I think the People's National Party has played with, and they have also helped the media to weaponize it, or based on how the media put that out, neighbor, the People's National Party add ammunition to it, and as such, utilized it up to this day, and I expect it to continue to be used going forward as well, because a leopard don't change its skin, neighbor, and that's exactly what we're seeing from the People's National Party. Now, that is to also ensure that they are attacking the Prime Minister in more ways than one. So, think of it as you know you can't beat this person, neighbor.
Uh-huh.
But what you can do is divide and wear it down. And that is one of the things they're doing, because if the Prime Minister have to now be fighting on all 4 fronts, meaning defending his character regarding the IC, now fighting this legal battle regarding the election that has already passed and we know who won, to now also be fighting with the very people he's trying to help, and also head-on fighting with the People's National Party, plus the misinformation and disinformation. Neighbor, that wears down even the best of man.
Yeah, true. Harry, let me put this to you. Someone told me today that there is possibly a witch hunt out for the Prime Minister. The cumulative effect of all of this. Today you had the Buchanan case. Well, that one was thrown out. Then there was a procedural ruling against the Prime Minister's case in the Court of Appeal or the Supreme Court. Do you think that there is a witch hunt?
Well, neighbor, we can phrase it anyhow we want, neighbor, because it is there to be seen. It doesn't matter how we phrase it. It doesn't matter how we dress it up. It is exactly just that. And when you are in a situation like this, neighbor, it doesn't bode well for a nation. It doesn't do well for us on the international stage because of how the rest of the world will perceive us. Because I can tell you, to see what is happening or what is being attempted over and over on this Prime Minister, that the rest of the world accepts, appreciates, and love, neighbor, have a great respect for, they are now going to look at a lot of Jamaicans differently, you know.
Uh-huh.
And that's not something you want to be there on the global scale, because you want these people to have confidence in your country and not just confidence in the leader alone. Because we can tell you this, it is because of a very good administration that the rest of the world has started to look at Jamaica and taking us seriously when it comes on to being fiscally prudent, to be forward thinking, as the World Bank referred to us. Those are the metrics and the things the rest of the world use to see how they respect any country across the board.
Uh-huh.
They may not like you, but they'll have great respect as to how you lead a nation, and those things have been put in place as to why we're where we are. And that is done because we have a very good leader. Now, if a nation now turns around and tries to demonize that leader or try to tear him down, then we're sending the wrong message globally. And I think that is something we have to be very concerned about, especially those who are neutrals, right? Because I don't want it to be along the party lines. But those who are neutrals and educated and intelligent enough to know, I want to say right from wrong, because that is how simply I want to put it, right? They are the ones who have to ensure that they defend this, or to find a way to educate people as much as possible to protect the image of Jamaica as well.
Let me ask you, Harry. The case in court today on the Prime Minister was a procedural ruling. How did that get out in media, social media? I think, and even traditional media, as a Prime Minister losing. How did that word loss come about on a procedural matter?
Well, again, neighbor, playing on the ignorance of the nation, right? On a large majority. Now, what they do, neighbor, from the moment it goes to court or a judicial review, what people tend to do, specifically media, is to pin it like it's a contest, like you're in a boxing ring. Round 1 go to this person, round 2, round 3, until the knockout blow comes, or who can last the longest rounds. And that is the imagery they want to paint, because that imagery lasts longer in people's head. And also what it does, neighbor, it shows that this man is fighting for something. Now, what that also adds to the understanding as to what is happening is that anybody can click a live, neighbor, and use specific words as simple as they are, and let's lose the first appeal, or whatever is thrown out. And that gets you a lot of likes, it gets you traction, it helps the mainstream.
You may make money too.
Neighbor, easily. And what that does at the heart of it is you exploiting your brothers and sisters, because that is what it does, you know. And to understand, neighbor, that we don't have that high level of civic literacy, and to see, I don't want to put it solely on mainstream media, but a heavy aspect of accountability has to be laid at the feet of mainstream media, who knows better. Because I can't even hold certain people where don't know much. Some of them don't understand law, some of them don't know the judicial process. So in their ignorance, I will extend grace and pardon them. But mainstream media, neighbor, who have lawyers attached to them, who have proper journalists, or they deem themselves journalists, who studied for this, understands and know, but still follow the DB style of reporting media, just reporting news just so they can be relevant.
I'm concerned too, Harry, because whenever I see a story online, I always go to the comments, and I'm not going to read the comments coming from the gleaners posting up the story, because I don't want to justify the absurdities. But when you read the comments under the story, Harry, it is clear that the people of Jamaica are suffering from civic illiteracy, because it's either they have a cognitive dissonance, or they are a cognitive bias, or they are just unaware of what this judicial process is about, and this procedural review. Because how could they be commenting as if, it's judgment and it's a loss for the PM? How? Because I don't even think they read the story.
No, most people don't. Most people don't. In fact, neighbor, whenever I see media putting out certain posts, I don't even bother read the article first. What I do, I scroll down and probably go through the first 50 or 100 comments to see, right? And then when I read the article, I know exactly all who never read it. I also know exactly who think they're smart enough to know what was said in specific articles. And that overall, neighbor, shows that we're too much of an emotional nation right now. And one of the things, it goes back a lot to our demographic because we're rather more youthful now than before. And I think it is, I don't want to say youthful exuberance, but I think the immaturity of our intelligent level is also contributing to this. So both from the emotional intelligence neighbor and also the literacy aspect of critical reading is missing. And as such, you have a lot of people who think they know but they don't know. Those who don't know that they don't know neighbor. And
Yeah.
it continues.
It's brainstorm.
It is neighbor.
Yeah.
Like, and then you have those who are very aggressive at when you do put the truth to them, but them not believe that true. You give them the facts, no, they not believe that. So what are you going to believe?
Yeah. Are you not relieved a little bit, Harry, that the court has taken a decision to delay charges against Dr. Wheatley, against the wishes of so many in the society who was arguing that Wheatley step aside and be condemned? Is this not a triumph for justice?
I think it is for due process, neighbor.
Yes.
And also I think the common man needs to look at it and understand that, hey, you don't condemn any person without just cause.
Yes.
Right? And as such, understand that every man has a day in court. Everyone has a right to defend themselves.
Yes.
And no institution, just like no individual is above criticism, no institution is also above same criticism.
Correct. In other words, you are saying that not because the IC said it means it is law. That can be challenged too.
Very much so, especially with the fact that, neighbor, we saw where the IC has not followed certain due processes. They have not followed in terms of doing best practices as well. That's globally accepted. So whatever they put out is questionable,
yeah,
and can be scrutinized. And I think everybody need to understand that this is exactly how it's supposed to be. This is what democracy is. Democracy is not this nice, pretty thing where, all right, we're going to agree. No, democracy facilitates disagreement so that you can find the middle ground and move forward better. But we can't just take one thing and run with it fully. And yes, we know politics will be at play. But there are some things where you should not politicize or try to score political points, because the shoe can go on the other foot at any given time.
That's true.
And one of the things in the neighbor, I'm not normally extremely critical of the church or as a body, but I'm going to be very critical of the specific pastor who head the group of churches.
What are you saying to me?
He himself, neighbor, need to understand as a man of God, right? Jesus did say, he who is without sin cast the first stone. And we should not be judging. Remember, we should not be judging. And he has already cast his own judgment long time. Like he's his judge, jury, and executioner. Calling out for Dr. Wheatley to be removed immediately. But at the end of the day, he himself shows his ignorance to due process. And I think he has to do some introspection, understand that, listen, we separate the powers and the views of the church from the government, and he should be more responsible as a leader and also as a man of God in what he puts out. And I'm not saying we don't have shortcomings and so on, but when you have time to coin your response. Nobody forced you to run out and make a decision. You had time to analyze the situation as a leader onto another leader, because Andrew really is one for our ministry. You should understand the position and trust the due process before you let your political lens draw you astray.
Fantastic. I see Rusty in the box. I'm coming to you soon, my brother. Matsik, hi, how are you? Hello. We Good night to you, sir. Prime time show is on here. We have to move on with it. Let's go. Matsik, you there? Are you there, sir? No. Hello.
I wonder if he's Bellevue tonight and not Matsik neighbor.
Matsik, are you there? All right. Harry, go ahead with Rusty. I'm coming right now.
All right, neighbor. Good night, Rusty. Any what's your viewpoint on the
perspective to everyone, you know?
Yeah.
I think the situation we're having in Jamaica right now, as it pertains to Mr. Holness, we're having a wolf attack situation. Yeah.
Wolf and cattle? Why is the wolf and cattle?
Yeah. The wolves, as I'd rather to call them, PNP and their surrogates, are chasing the government. Not on anything like policy or infrastructure, anything to do with policy making or economy. None of that is being said. It's just a chase about integrity or the lack thereof. And I rather think that most things that the PNP is accusing the government of is things that they had practiced, right? And now living in their own shadow, thinking that this is what the government is about. But they get the picture, that this is not what the government is about. What is really happening is that they are ashamed that they have wasted all these years, not do anything with the time, and then now Andrew is making all this progress. So the only way they see that they can bring him down is through propaganda and lies. And because they know that, as you rightly said, that the people are very gullible based on their ignorance. I want to use a better word than ignorance, because most of them, when they use the term ignorance, they think it mean arrogance, like angry, and not knowing. Most of them don't know that ignorance actually means that you're damn dunce, right? And it's not dunce as in case of, say, lack of being able to read, but lack of being able to comprehend what they have read and what they have heard. So most of the things that them hear, them not understand. And I think the problem we have with this government is the level of communication. Yeah, we need people in the street, down to earth people, to communicate these things to the average people.
But when you say Rusty, the People's National Party or the opposition is projecting what they would have been doing if they were in a position. Break that down for me.
All right. There are known. All right, and I can say this only. There are known criminals. They don't operate as a government. They are a criminal organization posing as a political party, right? And I can't take responsibility for saying that, because I know they are, right? These are my words. Because what government would have been running the country for 18 years straight, and a hop, skip, and a jump between that and another 4.5 years, make it 22.5 years, with one prime minister being at the helm for 14 years and 7 months, during which time the rest of the world was booming, their economy was flourishing, we were going backward. Billions and billions of dollars, where is it? So now, Mr. Holness has come and showed him, said, no man, foolishness of now, they must see the money. Put proper measures into place to get the money, garner the money, have it, spending it, so it will show them up. So they want to tear him down because him make them look so bad. They cannot stand it.
So that is due to their inability or the lack thereof to challenge the government on policies for the people.
It's a matter of inability. I think it's a matter of don't care. Don't care. You deal with me. Anything come on, we get a slice. Bat and ball business. Bat up and catch. Pass na Christine pick the first. Crumbs left me share it. That's what the people do. Fatten themselves. And then listen. And I'm going to prove it to you. Mr. Patterson has been member of parliament for a certain constituency in Westmoreland for 36 years. 36 years. What does those people have to show for it? Nothing. Wickham McNeil was there for 16 years as a tourism minister. What do they have for show for it? Nothing. Nothing at all. Not to mention Roger Clark and this other gentleman, Mr. Carl Blight. By the way, them rob him too. Spend up his money, and when him ready back for his money, them fire him. See? So not in themselves, them not care about much more if they care about Jamaica. These people are not a political party. They are posing as one. And this is not to say they cannot run the country they want. Don't give them a chance to trust them. Because the gentleman that wants to be prime minister is a gentleman that helped to rob us. Him and him friend sell the steel factory to themselves. Took it from tell Patterson watch it's not viable and sell it to themselves. And a few days later, sell it back.
But when you put that into context, Rusty, and look at in terms of what the IC has put forward for Andrew Wheatley, all right? Because known scandals has been there before, from the current opposition when they were in parliament or in power. What does the due process thus far mean to you as the average man, seeing how Dr. Wheatley has taken it to court?
All right. Let me tell you this. You see, I am glad you made that point because, as you mentioned, due process. You see, we wouldn't be having a lot of that had it been at their way. But Mr. Wallace has structured the country in a different way, judicial and all, from the get-go, because he probably respected what is happening now. I don't know, he's some kind of genius, right? But you know, if he hadn't done that, you know, we'd have a political violence right now. Are you aware of that?
Oh.
Yeah. And he strengthened the police force and the military, right? And put things in place and start to, you know, make certain things available to the police. And there would be political violence because it would be at square one, the police would be able to respond to a lot of what would be happening. No, because of how the police is now, you know, quick response and cameras and everything up now and everybody looking out now, you know, in various ways and forms, them kind of want to do some things and can't do it, you know. So the best them can do right now is a tear down strategy, the wolf and the cattle chase. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But what happened now, them buck up on somebody where them never understand so would be so smart and so young. It's like them kind of confused and, you know, tailspin as what to do, when, and how do we take down this brother? And then the wickedest thing, me I try to understand if this could have ever happen in any other jurisdiction. You have an organization that is working for the government that is trying to tear down the same government which it is working for. That is treason, isn't it?
Well, I wouldn't go to say it's treason, you know, but I definitely say there's a level of imbalance there in that institution.
And there's so much other things that they could investigate and is not investigating those things. Legitimate things. But I am trying to figure out why are they letting the PNP off the hook? I will see it. Nobody no need to tell you. We see it. All right. I mean, we wish Jamaican people gonna get educated to the point when they can understand these things, because from the get-go they voted against the Naira bill. That was to tell you that they're voting against the people that put them into power. Remember, they knew full well what the Naira bill was about, right? Mm-hmm. To help the very people that they might cry out, say, oh, people are not appalling. And you voted against it. No, the people now should have come out and protest against that and say, no, man, but you have voted against it. No, the people did not do that, and they're here for themselves now. The vice note leak. And instead of them say, Rastafari, and that you not do, and come out against them say, hey, Jesus Christ, I'm tired.
well, let hold on there.
Why are these people like that?
Hold that thought there, Rusty. Hold on. I see rough one and Jesus is Lord has joined.
Just a second, please, Harry, before we go to Madsick. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining. Could you please tap, share, and repost, please? Remember to press that white arrow, then that yellow circle to repost. And over on YouTube, a very warm welcome to you all as well. Could you please give the thumbs up over there as well? Thanks. Madsick, are you available now, sir?
Yes, I am available. I'm here. I'm listening. Blessings and good evening to everyone who's on the panel discussion.
Good night, Madsick.
I'm very intrigued by the blessings. Harry, me hear you say you don't know if a lot of Jamaicans know the legal implication of the whole IC and maybe the Andrew Wheatley issue. But what we need for Jamaicans to know, what are the issues at hand and are playing out in the courts? A lot of people don't know, and I agree with you 1 million. Now, today the Prime Minister lost a battle in the court, and I know.
No. Hold on.
Why you phrase that as a loss?
Yes, correct that for me.
Yeah. Okay, let me explain that. The reason why I use the term lost, because I have to make that term used, because it will be used on the other side and people will be caught into it. So I'm going to use it.
And I wish you do not do that, because I tell you what, Mr.
Okay,
Mr.
Hold
on. Just hold on. I was somewhere today, and if you go to the Gleaner's rendering of the story, and you look at the comments, it is being suggested that somehow the Prime Minister lost a court matter. That is not true. What happened is that the court ruled on a...
Neighbor. I don't want you to go into the details. I'm going to go into it. But the reason why I start with that abruptness is because of the same thing that you just said. The comment that people are making that he lost. I'm not saying that he
I want the neighbor rights, sir, and my listeners to understand that the court ruled on a procedural matter. There is no there was no winning or losing.
I'm gonna get into it. That's what I was gonna get into.
Well,
but the reason why I started the way I did was because I realized that people are saying that he lose. So I said, okay, he lose. But let's talk about what he lost. Let's talk about it. All right. There are some issues with the affidavit submitted by the Integrity Commission, or the file, as you would call it. The compact information about its statutory declaration, or information in that regards. His legal team is concerned about document that been unredacted. What does that mean? There are information, sensitive information that was exposed in those documents. His legal team is trying to get those off the record. It is simple as that. Now, what is redacted information? For example, you've got his bank details outlined, information about his people outlined, and it is not redacted, it is not blacked out, or what would I use? When we were going to school, we have a thing in white, that white thing that we use to cross out information that we omitted. so that people doesn't see this sensitive information. This is what the legal team went to court.
Hold on. I just saw a comment in this chat that we not explain it, and this is the point I wanted to make. Influencers have influence. There are people listening to this program tonight that do not understand these legal matters. They don't. And I
agree.
Don't want the listeners to walk away from here tonight thinking that there was any loss to the PA.
No.
There was no loss, sir. The court simply ruled on a procedural matter, and the matter now goes on to the judicial review. That's it.
Okay, neighbor, the first thing that we need to get our listeners to understand is why was the matter brought to court and the legal issues and these procedural issues. There are some information that was submitted by the Integrity Commission in regards to the filing, the affidavit that is now before the court. Now, those information were already submitted prior to 2020 when his statutory declaration was certified. His legal team is arguing then that, listen, this is not important. Why is this matter bringing back, is coming up again across in this affidavit when it was already resolved? We should be dealing with the matter at hand. These are some of the issues procedural issues that the legal team in Andrew Wallace's behalf have got issues with. But the normal public doesn't know these things.
And therefore, sir, and I think Rusty made mention of this, that I think that the society is suffering, he says, dunceness. And I'm not going to use that word. I think I want to stick with civic illiteracy. But that's not the major point, Rusty, Matsik. It is the exploitation of the illiteracy. Because let me tell you this, we're not all bright, we're not all educated at the same level. But when you deliberately exploit people's ignorance, that is a crime, man. Rusty.
So it comes back to the question that you asked neighbor at the inception when you asked.
Your microphone is closed, Rusty.
Integrity Commission. No, I don't think it is.
Rusty's microphone.
Can you hear me? Okay, Rusty. So it brings back to the inception when you started, and you said, if you think that they're weaponizing these agency or institution in order to get at Andrew Wallace. Of course they are. That is the reason why they were talking about 28 bank accounts. These are some of the information that wasn't relevant in the affidavit because these information were submitted prior to 2020 when the Prime Minister's statutory declaration was certified. There is no problem prior to that, neighbor. And that is what the country need to understand. It is 2020 up until now. But what the Integrity Commission do, they submitted information prior to that to try to give an impression and for people to weaponize these information against him. So yes, it has been used as a weapon against the Prime Minister. That is the reason why they don't talk about it now.
Hold on a little bit, Basic. Hold on. Rusty, what is it that the Jamaican people have against Mr. Holness? What is it against him? Why?
It's not that the Jamaican people have something against Mr. Holness, The Jamaican populace was taught to hate labor rights from the 70s.
Oh?
Yes, it's a thing that is embedded in our bloodstream. The mother had the PNP and our father and our granny and our donkey and our cow with orange.
So hold on. So all of these people that are commenting, hundreds of them, negatively against the Prime Minister, they were taught to hate him, sir?
Political and it's illiteracy, politically and otherwise. Most of these people that are typing these things have no clue about what is happening.
You know, they don't know nothing about the case.
Nothing they don't understand about what is being said. I swear to
You're
God.
right, they know nothing.
Nothing, that's the point.
That's why he said ignorance. When you're ignorant, you're a lack of knowledge, and you're right to speak ignorant, them have the knowledge of what is happening. They just run with it.
When they use the term ignorance, this is the reason why we say dunce. Because them don't understand say ignorant mean dunce. Them think you mean angry. Get mad. You understand? And the real problem for you is ignorance, because here what they have no comprehension of what is being said or what they read. Them just I say, oh, and then now them have to go up on the bar, go spread it, and every time the news go and go, it take a twirl and take a twist till it becomes this big story. When it make no sense. And sometimes you sit down and listen to the PNP.
Hold on, Matsik. I'm coming back to you. Hold on. Just hold on.
PNP like them sometime and listen to the rubbish is like they head out to take off. You cannot believe some people so ignorant, so dumb, like literally dumb, because the information is right there and you choose to believe rubbish and speak rubbish. They don't even search for the information. Them don't even look. When you tell them, say, I lie, nothing no go so. And it's right there. I've had people who you can't classify as top bloggers for the PNP come on my live telling me about Berkshire Whiteman was the best education minister. Me almost have fits when I sit down. Not even PNP no member Berkshire Whiteman. He did nothing for education in our Maxine. And the only thing that I can remember that Ronnie Twaits did for education was close down some school and introduce sexual orientation book to primary and children in school.
But let me understand you a little bit. You are saying that there is a dogma that teaches Jamaicans to hate the Labour Party? There is a
Yes, from the 70s, from 1974. Labour right are wicked. Labour right to build all of the hospital them except for those that Britain gave us and Canada.
And you don't think that Jamaicans are coming into a consciousness to examine things for themselves?
Yes, the youths them are coming to the consciousness, but you see the people them who are 80-year-old and 70-year-old, we have for them grandparents, I drill it in them. Them are the wicked in the society, you know. The people them where I tell you about say the comrades them, the manlyites them the Lego the manly something them. Listen, let me tell you something here, but I'm going to highlight something to you. Sorry if you take up so much of your time.
No. We have a little time. Go ahead.
You say, you see, manly left a legacy that was zero, rubbish, nonsense. But you know the legacy is manly. That's it, full stop. Manly.
Say that again. I don't understand. Say that again.
All right, let me explain. When I did nothing or never do nothing, people are hanging on to the name Manly.
Oh.
Joshua.
Manly.
Michael Manley painted a picture of himself that he was all righteous. Mark, you know what? I can't blame him for thief none anymore, but as far as I know, I'm dead, bro. Right? But his ideology was something that we couldn't really deal with. The West never wanted that. And what people need to know...
Oh, it's a Manley brand.
Right? So people, you have some people who are 90-year-old and 80-year-old and 70-year-old. We not let go that. Right?
Oh my God.
It's not my legacy, you know. Remember, so the man never like...
You know, sir, you have thrown something in there that needs to be examined, you know.
But it's not my legacy.
The
legacy that Patterson is so tainted that people don't even like to say the word Patterson. I swear to you. Right? But guess what for legacy? Portia. Have a greater legacy than Patterson regardless of the short stint that she did. She was the only PNP president and prime minister in all the decades of PNP in power that realized, albeit 0.5% growth, she was the only one. Why? Because of Audley Shaw, Dan Webby, and this virgin Harbin Hill. And of course, Siaga and the others. Right? So, during the time when they talk about PNP, Peter Phillips was the greatest finance minister. Come on, people. He was taking instructions from Mr. Siaga and Dan Webby. Right? And Labour right did literally run the economy. They just weren't in government.
Okay.
See?
Fascinating. I'd love to come back to you in a while. But Matsik, yeah, man. Yeah, man. You wanted to expand the case that you saw there today. Okay. I think you have me on speaker though, you know.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. The reason why I want to expand a little bit further on that is to also look into the matter with Mr. Wheatley.
Yes.
The court have also made a decision today. And the decision that the court made, if you remember before Mr. Wheatley went to court, there were certain information that was privileged to us by even him explicitly his lawyer, Mr. A. Abdul, was a nationwide. I was listening to him. And he was saying that there were information in regards to Mr. Wheatley for 10 years that the Integrity Commission didn't take into consideration. In regard, because they said that his 160 million exceed his income and his business. But he was arguing that they didn't take into consideration the 10 years rent that he had for his business. So the question that you asked at the inception still rings back to the fact. And the question was, are they using these things, these agencies as a weapon against the government? Yes, Rusty said. Have you seen no PNP prior to know who we have heard the agency that they run or the ministry that they run have been embroiled in scandal other than Spence been reprimanded in the sense where they have ever faced any corruption allegation? No, we don't say corruption in our ministry. We not, enough of them rich. Rusty make mention about PJ Patterson buying 2 houses in France. Let me tell you what PJ Patterson legacy, Rusty, because you say no left none. This is his legacy. Let me tell you his legacy first. Let me tell you his legacy. His legacy just take effect a week ago. The toll where every year we have an increase and the people have to pay for that. That time legacy. So he did left a legacy, but the legacy that he left is still having people about. But PNP no recognize. Come on, go see one big highway bill and no realize. I remember I was watching the TVJ news when there was an increase. And they were protesting. And there were one commuter, and she makes sense more than all of them. This is what she says when they are protest. Protest? Why am I protest? If there was to be a protest, we should have protest from the contract. Because all of what is happening was in the contract, and why we never protest that time. She was the only person who makes sense, and I applaud her. And it never become the bite of the week on TVG, and that should have been the bite of the week. Think about what I just said. It goes to show that even these local television stations, which we have long established, is an operative of the PNP. Because that should have been the bite of the week. The lady said she not protest. Because if there should have been an protest, is when the contract did assign. Because the contract was privileged to the public. What does the public care?
Hold on a little for me. Hold on a little for me. No, hold on there, Rusty. Hold on a little bit. Let me go to Rough One. He's been here for a while. Hello, sir. Hi. Rough One.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
I'm not doing bad at all. How are you?
Man, I'm in there. I'm hanging in there listening to y'all.
Yes.
I heard the question, the original question you posted, and I like where Rusty took it because that was exactly my thoughts.
Yes.
You know, one is we have, you know, Mr. Siaga, one of the things he said in his later days is that we are now experiencing a case of chicken coming home to the roost as he thought about the education system in Jamaica in the 90s. what we're dealing with now, the level of illiteracy that we're dealing with in just having basic conversation is a case of the chicken coming home to the rules of the.
But why, sir? I'm gonna share something with you. More than 2,000 years ago, you see, the Bible in Genesis 11 spoke of the Tower of Babel. You know about you ever hear about the Tower of Babel?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, Reverend.
The Tower of Babel, you see, sir, was man coming together and building a tower to reach up to the heavens.
Yeah.
And the Bible said that God came down and broke up their language and things like that. And so you had the scattering of humanity. That's how you have different nations rising up across the world, and you have.
And that wasn't just man, that was a certain type.
Yeah. Yes. But the point I wanted to make was that the accomplishments of man today pales into comparison to that time. In other words, that time was nothing compared to what we are able to do today. I am speaking to you now, sir, in Jamaica, and I have people listening to me in Australia. You pick up your phone and you dial it, and in less than a second, the other person in China is hearing you talking to them.
Right.
Technology, sir, is vastly increased and improved.
Right.
Why with this onset of technology you would be talking about illiteracy? How could you have ignorance and illiteracy when technology is so dominant in our world?
Because we're influenced by our community. We're influenced by those, show me your company and I tell you who you are.
That is it, brother.
I looked at a post on Nationwide had a post about the Prime Minister going to a FIFA game. And when I read the comments below that, I was embarrassed for my nation.
You were embarrassed for Jamaica?
I was embarrassed for my nation.
Oh my God.
Because, look at this. That same FIFA game, the President of the United States was there. He flew, by the way, on the government's dime to New York.
The Prime Minister of Canada
was there.
Yes.
Now, are you telling, and I read comments like, what about the hurricane victims? And I'm like, you must be freaking kidding me.
Oh, God.
Are you? And then somebody said, the Prime Minister said he went at the invitation of FIFA. They said, you're a liar because if FIFA invited them, I'll send you a ticket. Well, can I tell you that I am nowhere close to the Prime Minister? I have an invitation for an event in North Carolina next week. That invitation was not accompanied by a plane ticket or hotel reservation. I am going to have to buy those because I want to be there.
Oh, my.
But to the bigger reason why I can't.
No, I don't want you to leave this up because I think you have said something that is fundamental. You are overseas.
Yeah.
And you are saying that you are not proud of the progress we have made in education, in educating our people.
I am in agreement with Mr. Ciaga that the chickens have now come home to the roost. That's where we are with some of what we are seeing.
In other words, it's not the system of education today that is failing. It is a system previous.
It's the products that we have done. It's not today. It's the products that we put out. The folks we're allowed to graduate.
Very good, sir. Very good.
The
very
good.
Good.
Of certain key areas of reasoning.
I've said this every day. Some people criticize me for it. I said that Jamaica today is not the product of Jamaica today. The Jamaica today you'll see 20 years from now.
Yes.
What we are experiencing in Jamaica today is the product of PJ Patterson.
This is the harvest of the 90s.
That's what we're reaping. What a fantastic comment that is.
The 70s too, sir, and the 70s too.
Yeah.
The 70s is not done with us yet,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not done with us, but they're not out there being vocal and being they're
those are the people that them are the 80-year-old people. You may tell you where poison youth them mind. Them me tell you about.
Yeah, but the youths are not too much listening to them either.
Some of them stupid, especially the little girl them are listening.
But let me take you down a different path there, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
To your real question that you asked to start out with. So you know, we have a two-party system in Jamaica. And one party has, for its entire existence, been a proponent of capitalism. The other political party started out as a communist, and when they hit roadblock, they flirted with what they describe as democratic socialism. Now, from my understanding of democracy and socialism, the two don't work, but we leave that alone. But they're calling it democratic socialism. That's their way of trying. When they recognized in the 90s that, listen, what they're doing will get nowhere, they tried to get as close to Mr. Siaga's philosophy as possible, and they coined it democratic socialism. Now, along the path of capitalism, the political party that chose capitalism, they have always conducted their advocacy, whether in or out of government, based on policy. They fight their politics based on policy. You don't believe me? Just go back and look at the history of people like Audley Shaw when he was the opposition spokesman on finance. It was always about policy. It was never personal.
100%.
Always about policy.
100%, right.
On the other hand, if you look at the communist/democratic socialism guys, they have always felt that their success is weakening the leadership of the JLP. So they have gone after personalities. It's always about personality politics for them. If we tear yes. If we tear Mr. Siaga down, it's gonna be a fight to replace it. If we tear Mr. Golding down, it's gonna be a fight to replace it. But believe it or not, Golding outsmart them. If we tear Andrew down, there's gonna be a fight to replace it. So they go after the leader, and in the case of Andrew, they have thrown darts at him in every direction. In every direction. But I'm so proud of this man, how he stays focused. And we know he's human, and we know he's got to deal with stuff. But I kind of understand how he's able to deal with this. Because I know that in my own life, I have a lot of stress. And the way I deal with my stress is I get into the gym at some point during the day. And that's where my solace comes from. So the Prime Minister, I see him take care, make sure that he's getting his physical activities in. And I know that's how he's able to handle all this. But that is their mantra, to go after personalities. And if they were to think that they have weakened Andrew, then they'll immediately start focus on the next level. You look at the people they attack the most in the JLP, it's the next leaders. So that's what it is. You know, it's for them, it's personal, so they're going to keep going at it. So you ask, why does people hate Andrew so much? Because the politics against him is he's the leader, tear him down.
Yeah.
And so that is my 2 cents to the question.
But rough one, just to put it, hold on, Rusty, just to put it to you, why do you think it is a central view or strategy to tear down the leader? And now in terms of Jamaica has this thing where we are leader-centric, right? But what is it that is so compelling why this current opposition always seems to tear down a specific leader?
No, it's not just this. Somebody's echoing. I know it's not somebody's echoing. There you go. Am I still there? Yep. It's not just Andrew, you know. Because believe it or not, they demonize Siaga. They demonize Eddie.
And that's the point.
And they did it to Shearer. In fact, it was so strong with Shearer. You know, I listened to Warmington's eulogy of Ozzy Adam. And I thought I knew everything I needed to know about politics. And Warmington is still teaching politics. He's still calling classes. But,
and they give it to Buster too, you know.
Yes, Buster got it, and Buster got it back.
Cousin Norman Manley, give it to him.
But, you know, Eddie Siaga suffered a lot. And believe it or not, in Bruce Golding's short tenure, it's almost like the minute you're elected leader of the JLP, there's a certain level of hatred and just malice against you. It is so strong, and they've been able to cultivate it in their supporters.
I can tell you something. When you've been telling people one thing for 87 years, and I repeat it in that every generation, You listen, it going carry over, Virgin, like a seed planted. 80 odd years now, PNP are telling themselves we labor right are wicked. Believe me. It growing at them now. It transfusing at them blood. But I will tell you what is really confusing to them. And why, if you think you've seen a fight against Andrea, you just wait. Because they have found themselves now in a very confusing and perplexing situation. I had a friend today who he's in New York. My dad is in New York. He went to visit my dad, and they're having a conversation. And both of them are comrades. My dad is a staunch comrade. He's a comrade. And we have some property in St. Elizabeth. And he's talking to my dad about it, and he's telling my dad, he said, listen, man, just turn the damn thing over to him and let him handle it. And my dad is like, well, you know, him have this plan to do this elaborate thing down there, and I don't think it's going to work. And my other comrade friend turned to my dad and said, listen, my brethren is a laborer, I know him. And if my brethren think he want to go invest some money down at St. Elizabeth, I think he might be on to something. Because I think, these are two comrades talking, you know. I just happen to be privy to the conversation. He said, I think the current government have outsmarted the system, where they have an election timetable, they have money, and they have plans for St. Elizabeth. And it's confusing everybody because those plans will happen. So Andrew found himself in a situation where the results is going to speak for itself. People, this last election, Jamaicans were able to vote based on results for the first time in our history. We were able to elect a government based on performance, nothing else. And it will be the next story in the next election. And that's what's really killing the opposition. That's what they said, that the Nara success becomes the Labour Party's ticket to the fourth term. They might be right in. That's what they're focused on. Even just I seen a video on social media of Bobby Montague, you know, walking the containerized houses. Yes. Even those people that you're gonna put them in a situation better than they have ever had in their life. I don't care how much of a comrade they are. They will have to admit that this positive change came under AJLP government. Yes. Brother neighbor. There's something I like to read all the time. It's called the 9 Principles of Propaganda. Have you ever read it? You read it last time you were here. You see, I like to read it to people to let people understand. You want to do that again? We don't have a lot of time though. You have to do it quickly. I just want to read one particular part. The number one. Yes. Big lies. Big lies work better than small because the masses won't believe that anyone would be about that. Oh, wow. So they have made a concerted effort to keep the people dumb and dumber every time they're in power, so that they can control them with rubbish. Hold on, I want to ask you a question when I come back. One taller kid. Hi. Hello. One taller kid. I'm not hearing you. Hello, sir. Unmute your microphone. I don't know. Can you help me out there, Blueberry or Keisha? This guy has been here all night, and I'd like to hear from him. One taller kid. Good evening to you, sir. No, not there. Okay, let's go back to Matsik. Yes, sir. Yeah, we're 9 up to 10 o'clock. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to just touch on a little thing that I've observed, and I don't know if the nation have observed. And the reason why I want to bring the attention to your listener, this is what I've observed. I have observed that since the leaked voice note, I know that we here may have seen that and noticed that because we are very inclined to what's happening. In regards to the civil society, Have you noticed, neighbor, Rusty, and our other panel, that the only person that came out publicly and made any argument is the JFJ? And within that week, Trump spoke, NIA spoke. And what did these two other civil societies speak about rather than condemning the voice note? Think about it. Jam came out and he speak about IC glad class. And NIA came out and talk about body worn camera. Come, let's us as citizens of this great nation stop and reflect for a second. If these people are not conspiring against the government, because this is such a thing where the same people that are depending on improving their lives, the political operatives that these people meant to be holding accountable, they are not speaking against what they are doing that would portray such image of disgust, disdain, and distasteful behavior. No, let's just think about it for a second. I know that I flipped the coin, but it was important for me to raise it. And if people notice, all of these civil society, and the church haven't said anything yet. So we need to realize that if we're going to do something in our country, we have to take it in our own hand. Rusty, you said it earlier on, and I said it the night before too on this same program. The Jamaica Labour Party doesn't communicate effectively enough.
Not at all.
I said it. Not at Rusty.
I want to strengthen that point. They try to take themselves away from certain people, and I understand why, right? But why not then, if you think that is, taking some away and give you the requisite training for even a few months or a few weeks, since as if it's probably what cost bad and you don't want to associate with that, give us the training then. But you cannot do it by yourself, and the media is not doing you any justice. And you have a very nice we call it information minister, but she's a bit dynamite.
Yes.
I think the task force, Mr. Fitz Henley, he's a very effective communicator, even though he's a very soft-spoken man, but he's very effective.
Take in some vlogger, take in a neighbor.
No, not neighbor.
Take in some people. Take in some people. Do what you need to do. And see to it that we get the information. Give Rusty the information.
Yes, sir.
I was talking my lady that lives here with me. She can hear me when I'm having my discussion with you more time.
Oh, lovely.
Listen to the
your lady, sir? Your lady?
Yeah, my lady.
And
one of our conclusions that I established is that the person that hosts the bloggers, if I should use that term, and the TikTok that hosts the program that is in reference to, like, say, the Jamaica Labour Party, they are more astounding speaker.
What are you saying to me?
Yes, that's what they established. And I said to him, that is the direction of the party. If you notice in the PNP, they are vulgar, they are bad. And it is even on the social media all over, they are all like that. They doesn't have any form of policy to take Jamaica. They are like, PNP is a 9-day wonder party now. Every topic that becomes the headline, they jump on it. And when it fades, they don't have any idea what next to do until something else comes around. And I want Jamaica to observe that's what they are, a 9-day wonder party. They are irrelevant. Rest my use another term. But mine...
my term is them just grab and go. Grab it as we go along. Learn as we go along.
That's what I want the party. And I want, because I'm a very diligent person when it comes to observing people, because people have got a pattern. It doesn't matter who you are. Rusty have a pattern, I have a pattern, you have a pattern, neighbor. Because we are governed by time. And I noticed that the time that they choose is the time when something happens. Think about what I just said. They choose a time when they hear something as the headline to jump on it. Before that, you hear they are silent. Only thing that they do before that is to cause disruption of the business of the day of the country. This is in Parliament to make headline. If not, now go on. Who make you think about it now?
Madsos. There is no argument about the policies or the lack thereof. There is no argument about the economy. There is no argument about the NIR. There is no argument about the infrastructure because they can't talk about infrastructure. They left none there. This government is putting them in, right?
When they put
the roads, the bridges, and all this stuff. So, what is this argument about? Personal attack. Personal attack, personal attack. The wolf and the sheep story. Right? Attack, 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 attack. Now the people so gullible, them don't even realize and take a stock. I said, hold on a minute. Let's take a check now and listen to this real good now. Sir, madam, what is about the man and thief and what you talking about? I mean, what about the hospital? We're not hearing about that. We're not hearing about the roads. That's not important. The hospital can't yam, the road can't yam. I mean, what? We don't hear you say nothing, brother. You just go there and just take what you hear and just take what you see and just like you blank like you can't think for yourself. To the point where one little PNP woman don't want part down they say she don't want a house from Warwick, what's it, Andrew. Because she a PNP. Them kind of darkness there.
Yeah.
Them kind of gullibility there. Dunceness. Come on. Nobody's telling you what to do with your vote, but you get in a house. Accept it with grace and be thankful to God Almighty and say, bless you, Mr. Andrew Holness.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Bless him with grace.
I'm gonna have to give you guys 2 or 3 minutes each to wrap tonight, and then I have to go back to Member Harry because we're out of time. Starting with you, Rough One.
Yeah, man, I enjoyed the show tonight. Good points.
Your first time here.
I have first time coming up on the platform.
Well, nice, sir. You are to come again.
I thank you for the invite.
Yes.
But I'll just say I'll leave you guys with one point. Remember, the opposition party focus on personalities. The governing party focus on policies. That's how I leave you guys tonight.
Well, have a great night, sir. And by the way, tomorrow is a holiday in Jamaica, Emancipendence. What does that mean for you?
Well, ironical that you said that because I found out today that there's about 6 of us on the job that are actually Jamaicans.
Oh.
So we're gonna surprise the team on Monday by providing lunch Jamaica style.
Which team? Your team at work?
My team at work. We're in the military, so we're gonna put on another show on Monday to surprise these folks.
Lovely.
Yep.
Lovely. Okay, well, sir. Happy Emancipation.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Then same to you guys.
Yes. I think.
And make sure I see 400 and some people up there. Make sure you all take a trip down to Denby. Go support the agriculture show. It's a big deal. Take a trip down to Clarendon.
Yeah. It's a big deal. Well, I think the Hello Neighbor show will be here tomorrow too. I'm not so sure what time yet, but we're gonna find a little time to come on. I wonder if somebody could sponsor me to go down to Denby. Any other of my listeners could sponsor me to
go down to Denby and run the show from there, man.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. But there are many little challenges that I have that I would need to sort through. But thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Take care of yourself. Matsik?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're on.
Yes, what I want to leave us with is to remember this and take note that it have always been a pattern of the People's National Party to try to tarnish people's character and reputation in order to rise to state power. They've got no other way of doing it. They have never implemented or even outlined policies that are able to effectively change the lives of Jamaicans in a meaningful way that they are able to have their dream fulfilled. That's why we have always have brain drain in Jamaica. You hear what I say? So
yes, sir.
We need to put ourselves in a place and use our talent to develop our nation. We've got a government that is directing policies that will benefit us, whichever agencies that we've got, our occupation, our skills, our talent, we can utilize it to improve the lives of Jamaican and improve the economy, the productivity of this nation, which is most important. Because remember, we've got kids. We're not supposed to want to consider them as in the same condition. They're supposed to talk a different story. Let's change the narratives for them. Let's fight this battle. We should be for them hero.
Yeah.
You understand? A long time we all sit down and see promises are come, and this Prime Minister, Dr. Knight Andrew, Michael Holness, have cultivated a way where him can see people, see changes in Jamaica, that international community have an impression on this country and are speaking the positive news. When last we are seeing them positive news, PNP can only distract the people, as we would call them, ignorant or dunce.
Yes.
But let us stay focused. Let us always remain proactive. Let us, as people of this country, whether you call yourself Jamaican or independent.
Yes.
Now, as a PNP never change. But let all Jamaica Labour Party and independent Jamaica think. PNP have no other way to think but to think in one bracket, one closed era, and it's an enclosed space.
Yes, sir.
If you give them, they don't utilize it. That is the reason why art did it today, and we still need people for go there for training. They don't know if you utilize it. And when I look around and see the people who are still sitting on the road, they are still PNP.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, sir. Before you go, as we move to our holiday tomorrow, what is it about Jamaica that concerns you the most right now?
We are on the discussion of it, the illiteracy and the arrogance of Jamaican and the ignorance of Jamaican.
Oh my God.
That's weird. That's my concern, and I've always.
But let me ask you this. Do you have a tertiary education?
No, I don't have a tertiary, but I've got a diploma.
In high school?
And that's in building construction.
So you sorry, if I am too personal, you can tell me. You completed high school?
Yes, and I complete college in England. I complete St. Mary High School with graduate with a diploma.
Oh, what? Well, that's very nice. You sound quite. But I know though, sir, that common sense is not very common, and intelligence is developed through various factors. Do you think it's a lack of our system of education, or do you think it's simply under education or brainwashing? Why are we so
it's a deliberate
we're
act.
gullible, to falsehood.
On the state behalf, it's a deliberate act on the state behalf to enfranchise Jamaicans of the true potential that exists within them. It is. Yes, it is.
Say the state, hold on. Say the state deliberately undereducated its people?
One particular part of the state.
Yes. When you hear this present opposition spokesman on education or any other opposition spokesman on education prior, what's the Senate? Carl Blight did not, Maxine Henry Wilson did nothing for education. They did nothing. The only thing they did was to try to turn all secondary school into high school. Recognized high school. Because I remember schools like Richmond Secondary is now St. Mary Technical High. These things happen under their portfolio. But what happens though is that these people never did want to go at them when they turn into a traditional high school, a traditional technical high school, as you would call it. It was after Bruce Golden, they hear the grades in them school, they improve. And Andrew Holness, as the education minister, that St. Mary Technical High School in St. Mary is one of the best schools now. And maybe because my classmate is the principal, I don't know. But I can tell you something. I want to touch another point before I left.
Yeah.
Hold on there.
Hold on. What's important was Dr. Gavin Myers the NIA managing director, what is he? I want to tell you something. He's my classmate. He is my neighbor. We are from the same community. And the question that I would like to ask, and I want to see him ask him when we say it, but the reason why me I go say the question there, so on the platform is, are you being paid by the PNP? Because him no come from a traditional PNP woman, you know. Even if people want to brand him from as PNP, but more want to know if he's on the PNP pay package now. Because some stance when me see him take as a person, when me know personally, me and him grow, run up and down, come from the same community, fight and cuss. He's a Dr. Gavin Myers. I am who I am now today. Me not think he might make more money than me, to be honest. I can say, even though I'm a skilled person, but I'm certified and I'm qualified and I'm registered. So I'm certain of getting government work at some point in time, because when them look for a man like me, the companies of Jamaica, you can find my company there, sir.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So that's why when I said to your neighbor that I will sacrifice my time to build this country rather than even renew my passport for left to say me I go to another country. No brain can drain me. Nobody can drain my brain. Because I've got a position and I have hold a position that this country will be forefront in my mind, because I've got a son, and I emphasize son, at the age of 10, my youngest child that I would like to see becomes a member of the Jamaica Labour Party and a lead one day.
What you saying to me?
Yes, I'm serious. Me tell him, say, anytime he go to I said to him that whenever time, even said to his mom that whenever time he go to university, he have to immediately go into the G2K or Young Jamaica.
Wow.
Yeah, me tell him that, and it's a straight fact, because he have to be what I could not have done.
Wow. You want your son to be a labor right?
And that's why me want when he go on any political platform, he can talk proudly going forward and what his dad has done in this country. You think a joke? You must have a story too.
Well, nice. Nice hearing from you tonight, Madsik. Great.
And it's speaking to you whenever time I'm always available. I always enjoy your program. Rusty, me general, big up yourself. Harry, big up yourself. Hello, neighbor. One love, one heart, and one glory. God bless you and bless everybody.
Happy Emancipendence.
All right, Madsik.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So let's close out with Father Rusty. So Father Rusty, you said something earlier that I'd love to explore a little with you before you go. You said that there is a dogma from the PNP that is still very prevalent in the
Norman Manley.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Started with Norman Manley.
Yes.
Discriminating against his cousin Buster Manty. And his exact words to him, Buster, you're gonna use your life through the dirty labor of them. The dirty labor of them. Because what people should remember in Jamaica is that Buster Manty was of a lower standard in terms of money and status. Yeah, than his bigger cousin Norman. Norman was a rich barrister. Buster did have a little money, but not really rich. But nearer to weed than them. So the Labour Party started out of defending the poor and the vulnerable. Right? Whilst the PNP was started out of thieving somebody else's party and get some aristocrats like Fear Claus and all the rest. Yeah? So, the contrary to what people think that Labour is an aristocrat party, it's the other way around. It's quite the other way around. And you must have seen it portrayed in everything that the PNP does. Right? The central control and command. That's what the PNP do. Socialism at its best. Central control and command. So them take out civics out of school from a long time in the 90s. Right? Because they want to understand certain things about the Constitution and how the different arms of government and how government work. They did that deliberately. Remember, say a Labour right bill, the whole of the school, them, brother, 99% of them, Remember says Edwin Allen introduced technical school to Jamaica, you know. So if you can't learn maths or English, you learn a skill. Do your research on that.
Yeah. Did you hear Mr. Warmington at Professor Harding's
Not
funeral?
entirely. Not in its entirety.
No.
Not in its entirety.
Pro-
One of the things I think should happen in schools in Jamaica, they need to teach political science in school in Jamaica. Not just at the university level, but from high school.
You think so?
Yes. That is what causing most of these problems. People does not understand the workings of government.
Oh.
Who's responsible for what?
And
where?
Yeah. You mean the whole matter of civic literacy.
Right.
Yeah.
And as politically as possible.
Well, yeah, well, politics involved in that. Politics is involved in that too, you know.
Yes, because whether you know it or not, our children are very political.
Yes, you mean they take sides too?
Yes, they choose sides from basically what they hear, or them parents, or some of them don't go with them parents, but them go with whatever influences in the street. So why not teach it?
Yeah, you are a very experienced labor, right, Rossi? How is the government doing?
Honestly, I have no reason to give them, and this is not a bias or being labor right, but I have no reason not to give Mr. Holness and the government a pass mark of 100%.
100%?
Yes. You know the reason why?
Yes, tell me.
Where Jamaica is coming from and where it is in such a short time.
Yes.
No. This 100% mark is not to say he might have not made mistakes or blundered somewhere.
But come on, Rusty. There has to be some little areas that they could improve.
Right. But what he has achieved in 10 years.
That is true.
As opposed to what the government did not achieve.
Why is it not reflected though in support for the party?
Excuse me?
Why is that your grade of 100% not reflected in the support for the party?
Because of the dogma we spoke about.
Oh.
Remember, it's not just Andrew them hate, you know. Them hate Buster too, you know. Remember, say them cuss Buster saying can't read. But yet he had a column in the Gleaner every day.
Yes.
Right? Remember, Buster created a workers' union.
So you have placed in context by the grade you have given what the party inherited from the PNP.
Right.
And what it had.
Right.
So what are some of the features of that, don't know? What are some of the things that you would highlight are successes of that you're proud of as a labor?
Easy. Infrastructural development in terms of roads and off roads that some parish council from the other side should have been fixing. I know say in Nesta Morgan from central government fixing them.
Yes.
Right? And these are the things that they don't like because I'm gonna show to them slackness.
Yes.
Right?
And
new hospitals, 4 hospitals being built all in once.
What are they?
Alright, the Spanish Town Hospital 6 floors up.
Yes.
Brand new hospital.
Wait, hold up. In Spanish Town?
Yes. Right. And a major water resources development in terms of a dam being built, a massive dam. One of the first dam to be built anywhere in the Caribbean in the last 150 years. Seeing two what do you call it now? Urban centers. One previously finished sometime last year or a year before, and there's now one almost finished in Portland. There will be another one to be built in St. Elizabeth, like the Virgin was saying in family, a foreign and friend them. I say, well, time to come home for business. Listen, the PNP are very wolf-like and very fox-like, you know.
Let me ask you this. Hold on there. There is a view, Rusty, that 4 terms for the government is too much, and that the PNP is the other political party. They should come into power now. Do you not think that if a government is performing, that there is no reason to change that government? Do you hold to that? Speak.
If you have a perfect glass sitting on your cabinet, would you just break it to glue it back together? What I mean, come on now. Let's be logical here. I mean, you're going to break something just to fix it.
Uh-huh. So you are saying that once the government of the Jamaica Labour Party continues to perform, keep them in power.
Do its job properly.
Keep them in power.
Of course.
Uh-huh.
This is what we need. What is happening in the country today? This is what we need. 56 bridges to be built in the next 30 months.
Oh,
right? So I'm advising all the children, all the little youth that were just left high school and those that are about to leave this year. Go with whatever you got already to heart. Go and learn steelman work, metal crafting, masonry, carpentry, because we're going to need you folks. And we need the younger you be there, better for we, because we're going to have some longevity.
Yes.
In terms of the people that are going to be building Jamaica for the next 2 or 3 decades.
Uh-huh. So you think that the party is poised from what you are saying to win a 4th term? You think so?
Very much so, except for one innuendo right now.
Oh, tell us.
The propaganda campaign.
You think it is taking you don't think that the party can
It is taking root.
Oh.
And it's not taking root with the people that it really should matter to. It's taking root with some people where and them basically decide the rest of Jamaica fate, and them are the mass of the voting populace.
Uh-huh.
The uneducated and the vulnerable and the gullible. It'll take root with them.
Uh-huh.
Me I feel out there every day like me a member of parliament, Andrew Willis them a call me now.
Oh.
Because me have some friend out there where I say, boy, I suffer in the country and mash up. And I say, me don't understand what you mean the country and mash up. Give me an example. And I take out some ticket and I show me. I say, but if you have to do foolishness on the road, remember this, you know, you're out here to run your taxi to make your money. That is your job. You know what the police job is? To make certain you stay in line.
You are concerned, Father Rusty, about disinformation in the country. You are concerned about it.
The police is out there to keep you in line. So if you're not in line, you're going to be ticketed.
Okay.
And you must accept when you're wrong.
Yes.
And you mustn't cost the government when you go out there do foolishness. Now, if you think that the police has been excessive and is being excessive, take it to court.
Yes.
That's where you'll have your recourse, but not to cost the government. That don't make no sense.
Yes.
That don't make no sense. It's like, you know, you can't want rights for do wrongs, brother.
Uh-huh. You've been around from the 60s, Rusty.
Yeah, man.
Is this the best you have seen Jamaica?
Right now.
The best?
See, I got trained this youth here to do all the things that he never got to do.
That a whole less?
Yes. So, this is a Siaga reincarnation, only this is not his father.
What would you say to me?
Yeah. All of this way is Andrew right now, a Siaga exact plan. Right? And this youth spend almost all of life before Siaga dead with Mr. Siaga.
Uh-huh.
When he was 17-year-old. He taught him well. I remember this, Mr. Siaga is a man who can't around and not learn. Ask this man, him box him down to learn. He will tell you the story. Ask Babsy, box her down to learn. And did they learn?
Well, I don't know that he boxed them down. I don't know that.
All right, jump over that. You don't know everything. Some things pass people like how teeth pass fall. That's life.
You know, I've heard Desmond say that he kind of, you know. Yeah.
But tough love sometimes work, you know.
Uh-huh.
Because probably if my father never deal with some way, but a little bit more terrible than me, the terrible one, a little younger.
Yeah.
But it kind of drive little fear in me, I'm just say,
yeah.
Just give up certain things.
Rusty, we celebrate our emancipation tomorrow. The PNP's leader, Mark Golding, there are talks that he's not genuinely a Jamaican, that he wasn't born here, that he's a white man. What is your view about the Jamaican identity with a leader wanting to be prime minister that Jamaicans have that problem with? How you look?
All of that is water under the bridge now because this is 2030 election that can't campaign for again. Can't campaign for that again. We have to campaign for what we did or did not do.
Yes.
What we achieved or did not achieve. There will be no excuse to say we never get the time.
You have mosquitoes there, man. I tell you.
There will be no excuse. We got a fair amount of time. No.
Yeah.
People might say, boy, we don't get enough time because Labour right did get, PNP did get 22 and a half years or 18 year plus.
Yes.
Right? But what you should remember is, what we have achieved in the 10 years, it kind of set me up in a way. If I said, well, if you've gone this far in so little time, give me what you got.
Yes.
So, it's no time to give them what we got.
Yes.
This propaganda machine is very powerful, but we have to find a way around that.
Yes.
We have to do everything we promise. We have to keep them at least 95%. Because remember, say them hold us to a higher standard. We are the underdog.
Yes.
Regardless of we are putting in the work. I'm going to tell some Jamaica something before me left here.
Yes, sir.
Tonight.
Tell
It's
them.
a very important matter at hand where we are taken for granted. Most of we talk about vote in a local government election. Stop that rubbish. Local government election is the money election. Is that the money election? Is that PNP use and crawl up on we saw in the last general? The parish council money. We need to get back the grips of parish council. Because if PNP win the next parish council, then going to use the money to win the next general election. I mean, nah joke at you.
Well,
1986, after Ciaga was sweeping win 1980, he lost the local government election.
Yes, in 1980.
And
Yep.
he lost the general by 89.
Yeah, I'm quite right about that.
Right?
And I tell you something, the Labour Party.
Mr. Patterson lost a local government election 2003. And by my Lord's word, PNP lost the general election in 2007.
Yes, that's true.
I don't know. Look at the time frame. 2 years, 3 years in between the two elections. But he still lost. Because it set a momentum, it set a pace.
Yeah.
So we need to stay on the ball right now. Stay focused, people. Don't pay attention to the noise of the market. Everybody tomato soft because they have a long time. Just try to settle for you.
Yes, sir. Anyway, Rusty, I'm gonna have to run from here tonight. Thank you so much, man.
God blessings today.
Big up yourself. Thank you so much. Okay. Remember Harry?
Yes, neighbor.
Boy, I tell you something. These guys are fantastic and interesting, not true?
Of course, neighbor. Especially Rusty need to forgive me some of them talking there, neighbor, because
yeah.
I grew up around my grandmother and I never hear some of them. So
yes.
Send some of them.
He does understand the ground, the politics of the ground, you know, and he's a fantastic treasure to the Labour Party, don't you think?
It is, neighbor. It is. And not just to the Labour Party itself, but to any party that is seeking to not just stay in power, but to also ensure that they stay energized. And that
right. That's a good word. Right. That's a good word.
And especially for their message to resonate.
Yes.
Right across the width and breadth of every and any
yes.
nation, neighbor.
Yes.
It is critical.
Yes.
You have to have it. And I think.
And he's a very good communicator. So he's mad sick.
Boy, neighbor, sometimes I wonder, I can't differentiate if it's Bellevue or Mad Sick, neighbor.
But yeah,
the understanding of it, especially with my sick neighbor, I like how he has a grasp for that knowledge and how he breaks it down, right? And the good thing about it is people need to understand that you have to look away from the messenger and more so the message. I think that is critical, because I can tell you, a lot of people may probably hear or semantic and say, but they not speak the Queen's English. I mean, not speak well. But Matic knows the content very well.
And without even being critical, Scratchy, Harry, I think that probably the party misses a trick by not formally engaging these guys to help spread its message. If you feed them with the message, you're gone clear on the ground,
Of course, neighbor.
You're gone clear on the ground. Because they are smart, they know how to communicate, they understand the pulse of the people, and they know the history, and they know the party's inner workings. They need support to do better.
And they have a skill set that persons in the higher end of the party doesn't have and
Don't have.
And that is one of the things, because while you want to centralize the message, what you want is key to that centralizing is proper distribution at the level of different demographics. And that is one of the things I can tell a neighbor, and I pointed it out, for every period of the People's National Party, they have a minimum of 2 persons who are very good at marketing, who knows that like the back of them hand, right? But the Jamaica Labour Party, I think, has not gone to that granular level enough to ensure that they stay energized. Because this is the thing, neighbor. I think your base should always be energized.
Ready for an election any day. It is almost ready for the election. The base.
Every and any time, neighbor.
Yeah.
You
That's how you do it from the ground. You get your base ready for an election every week. So the election could be called this week. We must be ready.
And then the thing with it, neighbor, it is your party that is in power, which means you can also get critical information and work out how to disseminate and distribute it to the rest of Jamaica.
Absolutely.
Case in point, neighbor, something like that, and I don't necessarily want to go back to it, but it has, sent the social media in frenzy. That whole thing with the TCN deal, right? These are things where the people should have already have a better understanding.
Package it and send it to give the people themselves. Yes, absolutely. Even these court cases that came out today, Harry. Let me tell you something. A political party that is on top of its game, know that the comrades are going to spin it. So you
always, neighbor. This is the thing. For somebody to be dangerous, neighbor, right? You have to be able to be prepared for war at any given time. But it is the control that you have to not spiral out that make you so dangerous. An organization of that plays a key role. Now, this is the thing, we know the Jamaica Labour Party, they normally do well in governance. But I don't think you should be focusing or doing the same thing over and over. We've seen it from the conception of the party. They're naturally better at running an economy. It is their advantage. But that doesn't mean you can't do 2 things at once. That doesn't mean you can't be tilling the soil over here and doing something else, because you need it based on what they...
Especially understanding how Jamaicans receive information. And it is something that I am studying, Harry, because I must tell you, and my producer discussed, and I have discussed this, that sometimes I wonder if the program is connecting with Jamaicans. What is our audience? Who are the people that we want to connect with? Because you see the people who vote in Jamaica, you see the people who vote and stand up in those lines for an hour and a half, Harry. Them people, them people they don't mind bad one are cussing and people are attack patwa in a hurry. And
No, they don't, neighbor.
they tell you the
And
truth.
those are the people who will fight,
Yes.
neighbor. I can tell you that specifically because
And those are the people that the parties pitch their campaigns to, the masses.
Mm-hmm.
That is those are the people who jump on the buses and load up the arena and the mass meetings, You think it's up?
One of the things I've noticed, neighbor, I think, and it's not limited to or tied to just this current administration. I think it's a Jamaica Labour Party thing overall. I think they've always been communicating to the future Jamaica. I think that because it is something where it might be their position of, I want to speak to you at this level, to bring you along until you reach here. But the truth is, to do that, I have to first start where you are, right? I need your support, and I also need to ensure that it is not just your support on an election time that I will need, but I will need you to be informed to keep me there and to also ensure that you can contribute to your very own development through the opportunities that I create as a government. And that simply means I have to come down to your level. Neighbor, the story where Jesus was writing in the sand, right? Or in the dirt. He came down to the level of the woman, neighbor. He communicated
Stooped.
at that
He
level.
stooped. He stooped to conquer.
Right.
Yeah.
And to do that, neighbor, my father always said the only time you look down on a man is to help pick him up. Right? And that has never left me. Because what you do is you go down to lift him, to let him know that he has one, support. Two, you can go to his level. And three, you are a helping hand. And that individual will always look to you as that strength. Because remember, iron sharpeneth iron in a neighbor. And that's how you, when you put the information out to these people like the Rusties and so on, they sharpens the mindset, the knowledge, the understanding of everybody that they are around. And of course, we don't all keep the same circle. So by the time Rusty and him friend them and everybody have a conversation, they may go to different work, have a conversation that spread to those other person's family. And by the time you know that information start to echo right through the social fabric of society and start to change it. But you first have to get down to the level of who needs that information and who can transport it for you.
Fantastic. So what you going to be doing for your holidays tomorrow, man?
I might go on the road tomorrow, neighbor. Depending on how I see the traffic.
Yes.
Because I don't want to get caught in that type of traffic. But I might swing by Denby. Again, I was asked once again, and I saw the modular homes and so on at that was being previewed. That will be there at Denby. That piqued my interest because I want to have a better understanding of it. Probably, hopefully, I can get to see Mr. Edmondson to have a conversation just the same, because I want to know exactly what is there. Because I think Denby this time has shifted or taken a different move in terms of how they want to strategically impact society. And if I'm going there, that would be my mission to understand, see how I can help share that message as well. Of course, I like to get information from first hand. So, if I'm there and we're live, I might just entice our listeners, the usual neighbor.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. Well, I hope that we can catch up. And I'm not so sure what's going to be happening yet for tomorrow, but I'm sure I'll put an announcement out soon. Want to thank you for staying tuned. Blueberry, Caroline had to leave us early tonight. She's responding to a little challenge there. Caroline, I hope you're okay if you're listening. No church tonight, neighbor? Guys, you want me to keep church? No church tonight. Okay, that's going to be it for us tonight. Yeah, we'll see what we can do tomorrow holiday. Thank you so much, Harry. Bye bye.
Always, neighbor. And good night, neighbor rights. Everybody on YouTube, TikTok, bless upon yourself. And happy Emancipation Day when it comes.
Fantastic. All right. YouTube. Well, it's been a great week, no? So much to say, so much we haven't said, so much more we have to say. I hope that you will come back, and be with us. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. Press the like button, and please support us. Support the work we do. It's an important work, on behalf of the country, on behalf of Jamaica, on behalf of truth, on behalf of legitimacy, on behalf of democracy. If you're a believer in democracy and you believe in the work that we do, facts matter. The Zelle account is on your screen. Send us a contribution. That contribution goes into helping us produce better programs, get better equipment. We want to do some outside broadcast, and so we want to build the platform and grow the work we do. One of the greatest threats to any democracy is not simply misinformation, it is civic illiteracy. And what we are seeking to do is to educate Jamaicans about their rights, their responsibilities, and to push back against especially disinformation. That is our mission. That is our goal. We can't do it without you. Your support is ours. No matter how small it is, please send a contribution to the program so that we can take care of the expenses that are involved in our being here every night. The information for your support is on the screen. It is actually 954 635 8732. That's the Zelle code for YouTube. Until we join you again tomorrow, I want to thank you so much for your support. Have a great night. Take care. Okay, bye bye. All right, TikTok, coming to you. Coming to you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Keisha. Thank you. All right, YouTube, TikTok, wagwan. You know, all right. You know, I got them be tomorrow. I wanna do. I respect you guys. I remember my family. I'm PNP. I'm a JLP. I'm a JLP, and where I reach right now in life. Thank you, Gail. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Thank you, Keisha, over YouTube. Okay. Thank you, Keisha, for posting that information. Keisha, hold on YouTube for me and see see what you can get over there for me here. Nice. All right. I'm going to sign off YouTube because I can't play the music here. Bye-bye, Keisha.